Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib open mic. The link is on the right-hand side in case you'd like to join the show. And we're going to talk a lot about most likely Outpost 11, probably a little bit of Bounty, and I think we got some information about the refactor since the Wednesday show, but not much. Rhyme Thinker is good at not saying a lot, but using a lot of words for it. But let me go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Magic Mike, who's now.
Hello.
Now, how's the base attack going? He's driving his ass off right now.
I'm driving my ass off.
And
he just left.
Okay.
I didn't get bubbled though.
Well, he might be back then.
Well, he's not gonna get anything because I'm gonna.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
Alrighty. G Daddy G. D.
Hey guys and girls.
Dr. Death.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello, everyone.
And Admin was on a second ago, but he's dropped. We'll see if he pops back on. I guess I'll go ahead and start with the slides. Unless, Mike, you want to share your, well, I guess you're not getting hit now.
I'm not getting hit yet, but I'll put it on share just in case.
Okay. Admin, are you there? Or Adam, are you there? Hey, Jordy.
Hello.
Hello. All right. I'm going to put slides on present, and we can go ahead and start talking about Bounty 11. No, not Bounty 11, OP 11. Oh, well, first it's Battle Pirates next week. It's only things that are going on are Monday and Tuesday. We're going to have two new campaigns on Tuesday: the Devil Driver and the Whiplash. Heavy Metal Meltdown is just a way to get uranium. The assumption is that one of these is to get the Bat Ray, and the other one is to get the Razor Tail. So this is when you'll get your second skirmish haul if you want it. And, I don't know what the CN Diary is. I think that's a new one, and community survey. So, oh well. Let's go on to Outpost 11. All right. 20 days, which is 20 days, 21 hours, which was the same time as Outpost 10 was. It's providing additional armor, additional 3.6 million in armor, which on the surface looks like it's really going to mess with your bubble pad, but it's not as. You may have to move one turret depending on how you're set up, because you need to. Oh, we're skipping ahead.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Because most bases that are mature enough to have Outpost 11 in it have over 125 million in health points. So this 3.6 million is not all that much. But you need to do this one to get all the other things that are associated with it, which that thing is, I mean, probably the best thing is War Academy. Nothing at this point actually looks all that fascinating to have in the short term. So, but we'll get to the rest of it later. But does anybody have anything about just Outpost 11 by itself? We'll talk about all the individual components with the slides.
I've got one problem with Outpost 11.
What's that?
No power increase.
Yeah, that is a weird one. You would have to assume that there's going to be. We're not going to, like what we normally get with other outposts. We normally get more land spaces, more turrets. So maybe they're just going to constrain the power of what we're going to see with the new turrets, or somehow they're going to take care of it in another way, or it's just not showing up here. Because that's my fear with some of this stuff is just not showing up. Like there's no additional armor associated with the warehouses, which could be intentional, or it could be just a blueprint oversight.
I like that they're not giving us any walls with this outpost. That's a good idea.
Well, they're
Yeah, they
eventually
already-
going to do it, but
Yeah, they said walls are coming.
but
Yeah,
our real hope is they're working on a better mechanism. That's my hope, at least, is that they're working on a better mechanism to upgrade them than what we've seen.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's the OP11 and by itself. We're getting also getting a little bit more uranium and significantly more titanium capacity, and we'll talk about that because you also see an increase in the warehouses as well.
But not
Okay.
base parts.
Not in base parts, and base parts are not part of the advanced resource collectors.
Okay, so is this good enough reason for me to upgrade to OP11? I mean, right now I don't see any worthwhile reason.
I would go ahead and here's my philosophy. I'd go ahead and start it because you're going to want that War Academy so you can get the extra storage space. But the big thing is they've already stated that by the end of the year we will get Tier 8 ships, and Tier 8 ships will not fit in in the current dock level. You're going to have to get that dock upgraded before those Tier 8s come out. The only way you can get that dock upgraded is if you do the OP first.
Yeah, and the other reason to do it is we are going to get the next level of defense level platforms, and you want to have this 21 days out of your way. At that point in time, you don't want to be 3 weeks behind when the new turrets start or the new defense platforms start to drop. That would be the other reason, but there's not a lot besides getting the Outpost 11 done in the War Academy. There's not a huge amount in here that you need to get right away, and we'll talk about that as we go through the slides. Let's go to the next one. Okay, War Academy 16. This it's really nice. Everybody wanted additional storage. It goes from 25 to 60, which is a pretty huge increase. The other thing that's the reason I put this second, because I'm planning to build my War Academy second, is to balance out the increase in the 3.6 million of armor that you're going to get with your outpost with this 2.5 million, and put this in your bubble pad. And I really hope that nobody has reinforced fortified their War Academy, because it's, it makes it easier for people to drive by. And at this point in time, you cannot recycle it and then rebuild it with base parts and then to this. Oh, that's the other big thing. I forgot. I got confirmation from Robot that at this point in time, you can't use base parts for any of these things that require OP11.
Well, that's standard anyway, that, isn't it? Up to a certain amount in year.
Yeah, they're going to wait some period of time and then we'll be able to do it. But at this point in time, but this helps really balance out the 3.6 that you're getting from the Outpost. And I updated the base damage bubble calculator. And I think in my base, I was better off going to OP11 and War Academy 16 as far as my bubble than I currently am. So that's the one I'm build second. And I bet a lot of people are happy about the ship storage going up, so you can keep all your sea wolves and paddle barges. And how many Punishers do you have at this point, G Daddy?
Just 5.
Okay, all right.
I've got a question on these new buildings. With them all going up in level, are they going to go up in time to repair, or are they going to stay the same?
We have only seen the reductions associated with some of the older stuff. We don't know the repair times associated with, at least I don't. We don't know the repair times associated with these, but I've seen them dropping some of the other ones. So our hope is that they've done sort of what we suggested. What we talked about rolling it back even further is, to the point where they first started the game and everything seemed to be, they thought things through. And, like level 4 turrets, they just kept on adding on and adding on and adding on, as opposed to having that 3 or 4 hour repair time for your turrets. remain the maximum, and then just as you increase that, decrease the rest of the repair times. But you got something going on there. There we go. But at this point, I don't think we know the repair times.
Okay, thank you.
Level 17 warehouse increases all resources by 20.6 million. Increased from in both uranium and titanium capacities. We're added titanium capacity. We've doubled the titanium capacity if you include it with the outpost, and we've had a significant jump up in the uranium capacity. The thing that seems missing from here is the fact that there's no armor increase. And again, I assume that this is all the information that we have here, because always before we had an increase in armor with our warehouses.
Yeah, now this one, what scares me about this one is that titanium capacity, because that suggests that that when we get the tier 8 holes, they're going to take a shit ton more titanium, but they haven't increased any of the targets payouts to where, we can actually fill this up without doubling and tripling our chore requirements.
But remember, we just finished the cycle. Go ahead. I was going to say, we just finished the cycle with our mana cores that we would now be hitting at some point soon. We're going to get new targets for titanium with our.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We will no longer be able to auto the 85s with the Skyfires. Now we will have to drive. So I have no idea. I don't see how we can fill that 500K. I mean, with the Manticores, they won't survive.
Well, we haven't seen the new targets, so we don't know if they'll survive or not.
The new targets are going to be like the old raid targets, what we've just had, what we've just finished with. So you should be able to do it with your mantis anyway.
Yeah, but we took a significant amount of damage, at least in the asset targets.
Yeah. And we don't know what the timetable is with them working on all this other stuff, dropping this and the refactor and everything else. We don't know how soon we'll see the new titanium targets. And if we're still stuck with the old titanium targets, that's going to freaking, double and triple our chore requirement just to get titanium. Because what is 25,000 out of the top target currently?
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hey, Ren, how are you doing?
Good, you?
Anyway,
Yeah, okay.
And you can't get nothing but a dribble out of the expedition, so
Don't forget they've added the facility for you to blitz for titanium.
I ain't doing that.
Exactly, but somebody will.
Yeah, somebody will. That's why there's so many 105 targets out there for the FM. But if anybody doesn't have anything else in the warehouse, we could move on. Righty. Dock 15. It's not one that I think we don't need until we get to tier 8, but I put it this priority level. We're going to see a massive weight increase on tier 8. I'm surprised they're doing this because they said they're not going to do what they did from tier 6 to tier 7. So I don't know why there's a reason to double the weight in our dock.
I think 16 days and 14 hours is a bit long to do without being able to build a ship.
No, this is the dock. We'll get to that. That's in the shipyard.
Oh, and shipyard, yeah, go on.
Yeah, you can still launch fleets while your dock's building.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah,
okay.
the cool thing I find is now with 2 armor slots, and at that power, we'll be able to get the dock up to 1 million armor, I think, right? Don't the newest like D5 armor plates for turrets, they give 500K, don't they? Armor?
They give 500K. I forget off the top of my head what the power cost is for them.
No, it's 1,500.
Oh,
Or
it's
the ballistic one is 950 actually.
And they're increasing the power capacity on this. The problem I'm looking at though is for top end players, many of them are close to being maxed out on base power right now.
Yeah.
And with no power increase on OP, that's going to make things really tricky if we got to start, to start trying to You know what I mean? Increase our what we're doing on these buildings.
I personally don't mind. I mean, having constraints makes it more of a strategic game where you gotta give here to take there kind of thing. You know, as long as the power of the attackers is in line with the power you can have on your base, having constraints doesn't bother me. I actually find it interesting. But this one, I mean, having.
No, I agree with you. I was just surprised it wasn't like 125 or 130. And back in the good old days when you could like, okay, this one, I get this, but it weighs less. This one weighs more. We have what, like 280 some specials to try, and no decent sorting mechanism. It's harder to build that way at this point in time with the way that the game is, the interfaces are designed for us. It's, because I don't remember, what all 200 and some specials do, and even where they are, or anything of that nature. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what you say, because I found that fun back in the day when we had, 30 specials or to fool around with, and different weapons and whatnot. But now it's become unwieldy with the lack of a filtering mechanism associated with the specials.
You just nailed it. It's not the upgrading or not upgrading the dock won't change that. It's just the interface where you select weapons, select specials, select armors was not designed for the volume of elements we have today. It's very hard to navigate and find things, especially because every time you get something new, the old things move from place to place. Yeah,
it's something that they really need to fix. And the other thing I really hope that they fixed is the whole, on the PvP side, anything that's PvP related, they need to fix our interface in our for our defense platforms and our PvP related ships to reflect that it's no longer a resistance-based situation. These are no longer resistance-based, and all the stats that we get, even the ones that are correct, are based on resistances and not based on deflection. So we get a lot of useless information, and then and it doesn't incorporate everything. There's a lot of sloppiness, or for lack of a better word, associated with several of the interfaces that we've got at this point, both shipbuilding and turret building. So,
well, now also, I mean, looking at those numbers, I mean, because we got some specials that add 45% of the base hull, of the whole weight. You know what I'm saying? So if you start out with a base hull that's over 100,000 tons, and you add a special that does 45%, it's not going to leave you a lot of weight for the new extra heavy weapons they're going to be dumping on us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. I mean, I was just sort of surprised by the fact it went from 100,000 to 200,000 after Wrong Thinker said we're not going to do what we did going from tier 6 to tier 7, but we're still doubling the weight again like they did last time, which
means probably we're not going to be able to use the tier 8 weapons and specials on the tier 7 hulls.
Yes, yeah, but I personally don't like that. But
with this having armor though, the second armor, is it going to increase the time to repair it? That's all I cared about, really.
It's not directly related to the amount of armor on an item is not directly related to its repair time. And again, as it relates to buildings, because your dock takes 2.5 hours to repair with 9,000 armor, and then you got your turrets with several million, so then it would take weeks for them to repair. So it's not a one-for-one thing here.
But that is missing information. Is there going to be an increased repair cost on the upgraded dock?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, really. That's the thing that keeps me from playing the game, basically.
So, alrighty, now we'll get into the more contentious stuff.
Boo!
Yeah. I didn't even put the only thing that you get here is, despite what this shows, you already at shipyard level 5, you're already getting these weight savings. So all you're gaining access to is the expert build.
No, I thought you
and-
got Legion. Wasn't Legion?
No, the Legion is brand new. Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Legion's new. Okay. The rest of them are already there. Okay.
So I think it's the Razor Tail will be the first one to benefit from that, because that neither rockets Legion. The Onslaughts that usually use rockets and mortars that are all Legion will also benefit from that significantly.
Okay.
This is where I come in and says the 16-day, 14 hours I don't agree with, because being without a ship for that long is a killer.
Yeah. 60 days is a pile of steaming dung.
Yeah, because that'll put people so far behind on their builds. It's not funny.
Yeah, but
That
you
will
could do that campaign which is out, the one which is out right now. What's it called?
But
But that
you can't store more than two days
and
of tokens.
the campaign will be gone Tuesday when the OP comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. You can only
So
store
why the
2
heck did
days.
they make it the last?
The 1 day structured building tokens, you can only store 2.
And you can have
So
you can have
can't
one in a
win
chest.
10 one at a time, but you gotta win and use. You can't stock them up.
Well,
That's
you can store 2 and you can have 1 in a chest.
Not from the TLC, from FN, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
But what about if they did them in packs like they did with what you call it? You know, like the Skyfire pack where they did 20 days, but it was a full 20-day pack. What if they did like a 10-day, 1-day singles?
Well, they're offering packs right now. I've got an offer to buy
Yeah.
30 structure build tokens for $70.
I didn't mean to buy them. I meant to win them in campaign.
What a deal.
Yeah.
I think
And
they're-
when you buy, you can go over the limit. I think everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
When you buy, you can keep all 10, 30, whatever. But then you can't win any more from FM or TLCs because you're already over.
right.
Until they use them, yeah.
And just remember, nobody's going to be starting Shipyard 6 right away, because you have, 2 weeks of Outpost upgrade first at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would wait a long time to do this, because all you're getting is the expert build and the Legion. I mean, I guess if you have, the Razor Tail, that might become important. I'm not sure how weight constrained they are, but yeah, I would wait for it to, like, before the last the Outpost 10. We had these TLCs that were giving out 7-day structured build tokens, and you had multiples of them. You had 5, 6, 7 of them, or I can't remember the exact number, but I'm assuming something like that's around the corner.
Because that was when Outpost 10 came up, and that was a different game team. I don't know if these guys would be releasing the same thing or would just be putting them for sale.
Yeah, I think they're just going to put them for sale, because I think they're trying to say, hey, you're either going to give us some money or you're going to go without building a ship for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think they'll probably, like, maybe after a couple months to start to put TLCs in. I don't know. I'm guessing stuff here, right? But at first, they most likely will try to capitalize on that.
And I want to throw this out since it's on this blueprint. Just my personal opinion about this: the expert build is just fluff, because top end players are building new fleets, and you can't use an expert build on
first,
a new fleet.
give a summary of what it is, because I don't think everybody knows what it is.
And an expert build, if you can go in and you can in your shipyards, you can put your build together on what you want on the ship. You can click on expert build and spend more resources, and it will take a certain amount of time off of the build, and it will also give the build a certain amount of VXP. The older the build, the older the hull is, or the lower the tier the hull is, the more build gets taken off and the more VXP you get. So, like, if you do a Zelos, it cuts it down by like about 50% and gives it like 54% VXP. But if you do like a Dragon, it only takes 10% off and gives you, what is it, like
25%.
25% VXP.
Right,
Yeah.
5, yeah.
But you cannot use it for refits, and you cannot use it for any new hull.
Yeah.
So top end players who are building new hulls have no use for this, and the lower guys who would need this so that they can get their FM fleet, or they can get a fleet to do one of the map targets or something like that, aren't going to have OP11 and Shipyard 6 to be able to utilize it. So this is absolutely junk. in my
Also, the
opinion.
extra resources, though, isn't it? That the currency resources, not just resources.
Right. You have to use it's extra advanced resources.
In some cases, I think the Zelos, to use your example, the Zelo screenshot they have doesn't use any advanced resources.
But the
Okay.
dragon,
But the dragon does use like a bunch of uranium. So yeah.
Yeah.
So and at first I was kind of like confused by the name. I think that's not a happy,
Yes.
an effective name, an expert build, because
That's a bad name.
it's a bad
Scares the hell out of
name.
me.
And you know what? It's just complicating the game
That's
for
real.
absolutely no reason.
Very
So I'm like, oh,
fascinating.
is somebody going to give me a build suggestion created by an expert that I should follow? That was my first impression, to
Brad,
be
that's
honest. And
exactly
then
what
somebody
I thought.
explained to me, that, oh, no, that's like, imagine in your shipyard you have some very good, skilled, expert builders, like imaginary workers, and they cost more, but they'll build your ships faster. And when they're done, they're going to have some VXP because these guys are so good at building ships, as long as you pay them more. Oh, okay, I get it. But still, the name, to me, it's confusing.
yeah,
But now-
skilled
but now-
expert. But yeah, go ahead.
But now, Ren, you being a player that's running at the top, you're building new fleets. Do you have any use for this?
Well, but no, short answer. By the time
And do you know? And
by
do
the
you
time
know?
they add any discounts to the build in exchange for more resources, I'll have the builds done already. Not
And
to
do you know-
mention, the expert build does not apply to refits.
Right. And do you know any lower level players that would be able to utilize this? That's going to be able to have the OP-11 and Shipyard 6 to utilize this.
Not
And
now.
also-
I
and
think
also
maybe
lose 16
6
days
months
of
down the
build time.
road when they start offering tokens and they make that possible to be done with base parts. And when I think down the road, it will benefit people catching up. Not in the first X months, no.
It's only for low-level builds, though, isn't it? If it's going to help you, it's going to help you with lower-level builds because you're not going to get as much time knocked off the higher-level builds, are you?
Right. So it's only going to be good for people that are coming into the game trying to get a lower level fleet to do bottom raid targets, to do weaker map targets, to do the lower FM targets.
Now here's my idea. And I want to see if anyone else gets behind that. I want to see what kind of discount in time we get to build Sea Wolves with that expert build. And if it gets real fast, like just a few hours, I'm going to start organizing Sea Wolves open water tournaments.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, Palooza all over again with Sea Wolves.
Right? Well, I mean, everybody's like, I think, favorite memories around Sea Wolves and MCX or something like that. Let's say if it's just a few hours with this expert thing, it should build a Sea Wolf. Now let's see who gets more creative and let's do tournaments.
Well, it would only like 4 days to build a Sea Wolf full anyway at one time. So
2 days, a few days, but if the Zelos is being cut in half, I mean, maybe the Sea Wolf gets cut like by 75% off, then it would be like a day to get one. We can all build 5 ships in less than a week and just go have a tournament and then discard the ships afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with that. It'll be fun. That.
Just an idea.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, that would be interesting because it's the hull seems to be the driver. So whatever level the technology or the build time on the technology is still going to be brought into account, but it's the reduction, the percent reduction is based on the hull.
Exactly.
Going back to that situation as well with the new 60 storage weight in your storage, you get all your Sea Wolves in there.
Yeah, you can get quite a few. Yeah, we're going from we're adding like 30-some storages, so you could probably build 7 fleets of Sea Wolves if you want. So
Surely this will start coming into its own as well when level 8 hulls come in, because then level 7 won't be brand new. So there'll be quite a lot of people catching up on defenders and the like.
Yeah, that's why. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's me finished, man.
okay.
Sorry, I was just going to say, that's why I said now it's not good for people catching up. Maybe 6 months down the road when they allow people to use base parts for that, then it's going to be good for people catching up.
Sea Wolves with all new weapons on as well will be fun to try out.
Yeah, getting old ships and building them with new tech just for the sake of it. If the discount's good, I'm certainly going to play with that.
Yeah.
All right. If we're done with that, we've moved on to the uranium facility. I don't quite understand it. The assumption is that we can only build one of them. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's what I'm assuming.
I don't like this idea though, Hefe, because for lower level players who can actually build it eventually, they'll be able to claim their own uranium without having to hit targets.
And let's be honest. I mean, these buildings are not there for the payout. They are there as bubble padding.
That's what
two buildings. You can get them to 1.5 million armor each, which means now you can leave them at the front and maybe move one extra turret to the back. That's it.
That's what I was trying to explain with the. It takes 48 days to equal what we can get in a 102 scourge blockade. And it's 262 days until it pays for itself, including the uranium cost for this. I'm only showing the top level. For level 3 and level 2, you need to pay an extra 35K in uranium. So we're looking at a better part of the year in order for this to pay for itself just in uranium.
Now here's the question: How many days is on the other two levels to build? I mean, how long altogether is it going to take one uranium facility up to level 3?
It's probably 20-something days, is my guess. I didn't include the rest of the levels just because I didn't think we needed to talk about all of them because like Ren said, I thought the most important part about this was the armor and the armor.
Right, but if it's going to take you 20 to 30 days to get to that level, you see what I mean? That's an awful time investment for just one building, just for your bubble pad. At that point, you're getting close to where we'll be seeing the new turrets come out, and it'll be won't be needed. You know what I'm saying?
It's still useful to have a bigger bubble pad.
And you never know. Maybe by the time they get the new turret levels, then they give this guy a new level with 6 million armor, and it's still good. And you're going to regret if you don't have. I mean, honestly, it's like the last building I'm going to build or upgrade after I do my shipyards and all the important stuff. But
I just don't agree
as soon as it gets to a point where I'm not building anything, I'll certainly do that, guy. It's bubble padding.
No, that's what I'm saying. When I don't have anything else to build, I'll drop this in.
Exactly.
I don't agree with it costing uranium though. When it's a uranium building, it's to help you out getting uranium, but it's costing you 225,000 to make it.
Yeah, because again, it's not to help you get uranium. That's certainly not the goal of that building. I mean, generating 41 uranium per hour. It's certainly not to help you gain uranium.
Yeah, but a lot of stuff nowadays, Ren, for the younger level, lower level players, costing uranium to upgrade. Like Hop 6 has got a little bit of uranium in, and they can't get it, and they can't get base parts to help themselves, so they need help getting them in.
But you can hit 75 elites for like 20 uranium, and you can do how many of those in an hour?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about low level players though. Just come back.
Yeah, but a lot of low level players can hit 75.
Well, any low level player can go out and hit even they've put 10 uranium in all the base cargoes. So you can go out and hit a level 17 cargo. If you're a starting player and get 10 uranium for hitting it.
That's the point.
Talking, it's like 15,000 to build a building.
And you get a few thousand when you start doing like FM tier 3. I think it starts giving you some uranium too.
Yeah,
but I understand what you're saying, right? But what I'm saying is, if you think about it, if you're only getting 41 an hour from a level 3 uranium, I could go out and hit 4 level 17s as a low level player cargoes in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's
75, you mean? Huh?
Yeah, but this
no. They put 10 uranium. They put 10 uranium, and all the cargoes now, except for elites, have 10 uranium. The elite cargoes have 20. So you can go out and hit a 51, a 71, a 40, a 17, a 5, or a 1, and get 10 uranium for hitting that cargo.
Yeah, but what you're forgetting there, Dr. Death, is this works while you're not.
Right, but you're not.
Do the math. I mean.
Right, but at 41 an hour, that's only 410 every 10 hours.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
not
so-
even enough to. That's not even enough to do a base upgrade on an outpost. You would wait days and days before you'd have enough to even scratch upgrading an outpost or upgrading one of the higher level turrets or doing something inside your
At the end of the day, though, it's free. It's free uranium. You don't even have to wait. You just collect it when you collect it.
At the end of the day, guys, I think, again, I'll say that again. I mean, the goal of these buildings is not to generate the resources. An experienced player should never advise a new player to build this guy to generate uranium or the other guy to generate titanium. It's like, this is like an advanced building you only build for tactical reasons to create more pad.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, because if it takes 262 days to pay off, that's not.
It's not free uranium for 262 days, is it?
No.
It's just a building.
It's a building with a lot of HP.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
just looks good in your base. That's it.
Can you collect it at any point, like you used to better do with resources, or do you collect
What
it?
I'm more curious to know is, do these guys have a tactical slot? Because it only talks about armor. I don't know if they have any tactical slot when they first built.
I'm not certain. I mean, I
If
think
they
copy
do, and
all
you
of
can
them.
put them up front, you can put some fire support or something to even have those turrets, the bubble pad should fire harder. You know what I mean?
I'm going to bet these don't have tactical slots because this has no power.
Yeah.
No, the screen is an upgrade screen. So all it's saying there is like when you upgrade, you don't gain more power, you don't gain more tactical slots, but the
Well, right,
original
but-
level
but
2, do they have any? I'm asking, I don't know.
But the blueprint they showed us in the forums doesn't show any power either.
No? Okay.
For all 3 levels?
I just looked at the first one.
Okay, well, there's 3 levels for uranium, and then we can go on to the next one, which is titanium, which is very similar.
Here's the big question: what level did we have to get our regular resource generators up to before they got the tactical slot?
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bet that's what they're going to base this on. It's going to have to go up some levels before we'll get armor slots first, and then we'll get a tactical slot next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't find that on though, but yeah.
Okay, you want to go? Okay, we're on titanium now. Very similar story.
But does it go to 3 as well?
No, this one only goes to 2, but it gives the same output at level 2 that the uranium does at 3.
Again, like the first one, it's just not enough increase an hour.
Yeah, but like we keep on saying, it's not there for the stated purpose. It's there for the sneaky bottom line purpose of the armor, which you can never have too much bubble pad. Even once the defense platforms get upgraded, it allows you to hide more stuff on your main island. It allows you to do more things and have greater flexibility in your builds.
Are these going to be on land, or are they going to be on water?
I'm assuming they're going to be on land.
I would have thought that, but they haven't given us no land tiles to accumulate that, have they? I know we've got enough now, but we could do with more land.
Yeah, I mean, adding more lands also means they probably need to fudge with some other things as far as the map size and our build size and other things at this point. But yeah, I mean, we can always use more land, but I guess they chose not to deal with that this time. So
more land would also, with the way that people are countering attackers now, more land would mean longer channels, which would mean base attack length would potentially being affected.
And they're trying to lessen that,
Yeah,
yeah,
5 minutes.
or so they say.
yeah. Let's go on to the next one so you can stop hosting slides. Okay, Conquest Yard 1. This is a new thing that only requires a level 6 outpost, and they've reduced it to 2 days and 20 hours. This is not what you currently have. This is a new thing. This is sort of Conquest Yard Junior. And, takes 2 days, 20 hours to build, and, basically the same thing that we have now, except for, we can go to the next slide. It doesn't include the weight savings. that we have, and this is what if you have a conquest yard at this point, this is what you have, except for, I'm not sure, Ren, do you know if there's probably not a Legion savings on that one, right?
Yeah, no, it's the same.
But is there a Legion savings in the conquest yard? Currently.
Yes, there is. There is.
Okay. So it's the same thing that we had
And
for.
actually, we'll get the 15% on Legion on level 2. The one we have right now will become level 2.
Yeah.
According to the screenshot they posted on the forum, Kickside, the 15% on Weavers, Scourge, Legion, Draconian, and Forsaken, all 5 factions at level 2. So we won't have to do anything to get that savings on the Conquest here.
Okay. Alrighty, and let's go on to Conquest Yard 3. All right, all we're adding in here is a little bit of armor and everybody's favorite topic, the expert build.
Well, now I have a question though, because in our current Legion, it does not list the weight savings, right? Or I mean, our current Conquest chart, it doesn't list the weight savings. So this is something that's going to fall into it automatically when we get our OP11, and it takes us to automatic level 2, right?
But it only shows up when you're upgrading. You know, like it doesn't show this when you take a look at your Conquest yard or your shipyard or whatnot. It shows it when you're about to upgrade. It's sort of like if you look at your walls or anything where you can't figure out how much armor it has at that point in time. You can only figure out how much armor it's gonna get, and as soon as you get to the maximum level, you don't know what the armor level is of a particular item in your base.
Okay.
I take it this is the same building as the normal Conquest yard that we're upgrading. It's not another building, is it?
No,
it's the same. Yeah, that's why I did new, old, new, because the Conquest Yard 2, most people, or at least a lot of people, already have in their base, as is.
Now, the good thing is, if people did some TLCs in the past that were pretty much giving away a whole bunch of Conquest Yard tokens, build tokens, we can use those tokens to get the Conquest Yard to level 3 right off the bat, as soon as you get the Outpost done.
Yeah.
And they're available in Bounty as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of those 5-day, 7-day Conquest Yard build tokens. They can all be used.
Nice.
Yeah. And give you access to expert builds in case you want to build a revenge for real cheap.
I'm gonna throw an enforcer in.
Okay.
Nobody will take my base after that.
Yeah.
That
If
ship
you want to
is
build a
mean.
brand new one, if you
Firepower on that ship's mean.
Yeah, if you want to build a brand new one, I wish, the only way this makes sense is currently constructed is if it allowed for refits. Otherwise, the expert build doesn't make any sense to me unless you incorporate refits into it.
Well,
I mean,
it might be.
It's very
might-
misleading.
It just might be a mechanic for people to catch up.
But this is the max technology for people to catch up.
Yeah, the people that
max
need
level.
this aren't going to have the OP11
Well,
and Conquest
I mean,
Yard 3.
We also built our Conquest yards at 40 days for a build. Now it's to going from 1 to 3 is what, 30 days total?
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying.
Yeah. But yeah, with the ship, do you feel the same way about the shipyard in the expert build?
That one I'm not sure about. That one I don't know if they're going to be coming, like maybe there's a plan for us to be able to use our stuff. I don't know. I mean, with the shipyard, room that we have, which means not any, in the shipyard, I'm not sure about that. Yeah,
the shipyard doesn't make any sense to me, or I'm not sure that anybody's explained it that it's made sense to me. Yet to lose 16 days to save nothing. Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Hefe. I just want to say about the shipyard, what you're on about. It might be like, George just gave me an idea, like they might be bringing back some old TLCs to be able to use ships, you can put in your storage and just have a mess about with them now and again.
Yeah, but considering the fact that it's like 16 days and they've gone to this 2-ship, 3-month thing, and losing 16 days to save on building a Zelos doesn't make any sense to me at this point.
Dare I suggest that it's 16 days because people will want it, and the way to get it then is to coin it. It's not vital for the majority of players, but some people will go out there, and because they don't want that downtime, they'll speed it up.
Oh, but remember, Kix came out and said that they were not going to put anything into the game to try and generate just for coin.
Yeah, that would be where I would go next and call that one out.
I joined 5 minutes or so late. Did you guys talk about the armor on the Outpost almost doubling?
Well, it went up by 3.6 million. And I actually updated Larry's, I haven't updated live anywhere, but I've updated Larry's bubble calculator with the new stats. And at least in my base build, I actually noticed if I built the War Academy, because most average builds have like my base has a little bit over 125 million armor. So you're adding 3.6 million to it. And remember, this is all percentage based. And we have so many turrets at this point that the way my base is configured, I was actually better off going to OP11 and War Academy, whatever freaking level it is now, 16, than I was before as far as my bubble pad was concerned.
No, okay, you're thinking bubble pad. I was asking just because most ships today with the right configuration, they struggle to kill the OP before you time out. Mm-hmm. With 3.6 million extra armor on the OP, that will become even more of a problem when you can actually make it to the OP, but you just time out before you kill it, And
that's
I think that's. Yeah, isn't that addressed in that whole 5-minute thingy that they said?
Whenever the refactor comes, yes. But between Outpost coming out next week and refactor in 6 to 8 weeks, if they stick to that timeline, it's about 2 months of again even more unkillable bases.
And 2 bounties in that time run where people won't be able to pop the OP when it's got the bounty bonuses on.
Oh, forget it. Exactly. 10 million armor and you add those bounty bonuses, like you can get to the OP with 4 minutes to go, you won't kill it.
That is a good point.
That was the main thing that popped for me when I saw, 10 million armor, and then you can add a bunch of plates, and each one of them adds 500,000, and you're surrounded by all those resistance specials. Now they're saying the refactor will get rid of all the resistances. I don't know what they're going to put in place, deflection, whatever. But between now and then, it's again 2 months of even less PvP because we're going to find even more impossible to kill bases.
Well, even so, even if they replace with deflection and say you can get deflections up to either close or to where it's just pass-through damage. How long would it take to kill a 10 million armor point OP at 360 pass-through?
Right. And eventually when you get to the OP, you don't have your 5 ships anymore. Some of them died along the way. You know what I mean?
Voltron, baby.
Yeah.
Voltron don't work.
Voltron without both legs and just an arm, crawling.
It's funny.
Okay, half has stepped out. What's next?
We got refactor.
Oh joy.
They say they've made extremely good progress on getting all the pieces of PvP into your hands. The first task we had to accomplish for PvP was getting all the necessary pieces out to form a solid foundation that we can build on. Everyone's been playing chess with half the pieces, and that's not much fun. So we took 1 month off from PvE content, which was more than a little unprecedented, and focused on PvP content for a full month. As a result, all 6 baseline Conqueror holes have been released, and quite soon we'll have all 3 Defenders out also. Only one left, the Siren.
Yeah,
can't-
it wasn't. Go ahead.
But we can't rebalance things that don't exist, but now that we have set the board with all the pieces, we can balance them against each other and retain their original intended value. I just want to say something before I finish that last paragraph. Bullshit. Because when something comes out, it should be balanced for the damn game.
So I
Yeah.
did ask about this, and what I was told was that they actually want to see how we're using the fleets now once everything's out and out to what it was supposed to be by the end of the year. So the whole set's out, and they're going to take that data and try and figure out how we're playing. So hopefully they're going to see that, yeah, we don't do the Voltron thing. That's, I mean, that's the idea is that everything's going to be out so they can actually try and, instead of tuning it to what they want, they're going to try and tune it to what we're doing, to what we want. Allegedly.
Okay,
I mean, that's the theory.
Okay, I understand the theory, George, but here's
Can I
the
ask one
question.
question?
Who's hitting bases?
Well, you know, I mean, there are some
where
base
they
hits
gonna
going
pull
on,
their-
but
where are they going to pull their data from? Us hitting people going out and farming baby seals, you know, level 80 bases to get their ally points that only
I don't
have a dock in them?
I have a question. Sorry, guys. I mean, you guys may be more informed than I am, but on the last paragraph, the first sentence there, where they say, now that we've set the board with all the pieces, are all the pieces really out? I mean, to me, it's missing some armors. It's missing a flagship.
I agree.
We don't have all the pieces. I'm sorry. If we do, it's more broken than I thought. Do we?
Maybe they mean all the pieces they've spent time developing and need to get the money back off.
No, I don't know about that. I mean,
It's
I
missing
you
at
know,
least one armor.
yeah, I think it feels like there is an armor missing. It feels like I mean, there is a flagship missing if they followed the pattern. But
Yeah.
the thing, there are times when they do stuff or put stuff out that I just really dislike the phrasing, because I think they forget that we've been playing for 7 years, and you know, like it isn't unprecedented. I mean, we had a month off from raid. We had a month with 2 raids in it as well. But I mean, that's, you know, it's things. Those are the things that we remember. You know. Rebalancing things that don't exist, that's the part that kind of put a burr in me, because I was just like, dude, you guys are the ones that are designing this. How do they not exist? You know?
Well, not only that, if the only way they can actually balance things properly is to put it in the game first and then balance it, that right there explains why we've had all these problems for the last few years, because they don't know what they're doing. Because when they build something for the game, it should be balanced for the game.
Now it is in terms of how they wanted us to use it, and that's the problem. I think we continually find other ways to do stuff that we're more comfortable with, or that we enjoy more, that we have fun with, and you know.
So does that mean they're going to try and squeeze that cookie cutter even tighter then?
I hope not. Hell,
I don't know. I think the way that it sounded was that they were intending to take the data and see how we're playing and go from there, because that's, I think that over the last 2 years, because they've screwed PvP up, I mean, pretty damn good in the last 2 years. 2016 was the last year that was halfway decent, and then from there, 2017, 2018 has been shit. And I think they're coming to the realization that it's like, hey, you know, it's a lot of things are looking good on paper, and you know, the Voltron, like for example, the Voltron idea, yeah, on paper it sounds great, but in practice it's just it's untenable. And I think they're trying to actually see how we really interact with what they've given us. I think that's part of why they've dumped all of this quicker than they had intended originally.
And it's sad, George, because you know, you nailed it. I mean, the whole Voltron thing, it's not the first, and it's not even the second time they try it. And guess what? It didn't work the previous 2 attempts. I mean, they tried with the Revenge series. They tried with the faction series with the Raider, Inquisitor, and whatnot. And now they took it to a whole new level, and it just doesn't work.
I mean, I'll say this. I have seen the Voltron thing work. I mean, on paper, here's the thing. On paper, I can make it work on paper. But when you go into a base and you're in that, like, it just doesn't. It's not something that's either fun to use or, in like deftly intuitive. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, it's on paper it's great, but in
Going back
practice,
to what-
completely untenable.
Going back to what Ren says, though, if you go to the second paragraph and look at the last sentence, it does say, as a result of all 6 baseline concrete hulls have been released, and quite soon we'll have all 3 defenders out also. So
Well, it says baseline. See, now it says baseline, so that might not be inclusive of a flagship. I
Right.
actually didn't
Yeah.
catch that.
But now
I
here's
just-
the
I
other
just noticed
question.
They're
that.
lacking at least one piece of armor. There has to be a CTCO 1, 2, 3 armor at least.
I would hope. I really would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the other thing too, if they're wanting to get information on how we're interacting with all this content, how many players on this panel alone
You're cutting
have
off real
built
bad.
all of the content? How many of you guys have said, okay, well, you know what, this ain't working, I'm not going to go and get this? How many players actually have reverence on the water?
I've stopped PvPing, dude.
Yeah, and there's another question I want to add on top of what Dr. Death said. Is this the proper testing adjustment environment to be doing something like this now that they're releasing OP11, where everybody's bases is going to become in shambles, upgrading, doing whatever, and this point in time also tends to shut down PvP because people don't want to have their builds interrupted. It seems like a really questionable time to be going through this sort of adjustment period while our bases are in chaos and people don't really want to PvP as much, except for a couple of people that are willing to coin all this stuff. I don't think it's going to be a representative sample based on the timing of when they did this.
Yeah, but I'll add something. I mean, again, they tried with the Rival series, and they're doing now without the Tier 7 series, the Voltron idea, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, whatever you call it. It doesn't work. As George said, it gets overly complicated, and in a time frame of 5 minutes to understand what's going on in the base, understand what's throwing at you, understanding the ships you have, and moving this one ahead of that one, ahead of this one, and the other one to the side. It is way too complicated to work, right? In that sense, honestly, the last time I had real fun doing PvP was with the 7 Deadly Sins series, where the ships were more well-rounded to take a multitude of different damage types, and they could blaze through them relatively well with, like Prides and Gluttonies and Rages. I mean, those ships were well-rounded the way I would like PvP to be. Like you build it right, you do well. And you can lean the build more towards this or that, but out of the box, it's kind of already self-contained. You don't need this whole puzzle, which the Voltron could work with 3 damage types, maybe 4 with 6. It's just impossible.
Well, and the other thing about the 7 Deadly Sin series, they were more fun.
They were.
Because they had something. They at one point they said they were we're going to simplify the stat blocks on the PvP stuff, and it's simplifying because a lot of this stuff was either inaccurate or poorly explained. We weren't getting all the information that we needed, and that's the reason it was quote unquote complicated, because some of the information was either wrong or missing.
Yeah, and when people said it was complicated, it was just because, let's use the Gluttonies. I mean, they had those auras that you had to stack them all and calculate them all, and it was hard to calculate it, and you need a spreadsheet and a relatively decent knowledge of math, and but they were fun to use, right? Maybe they were not easy to build, to understand the build, but if somebody gave you a build and you followed that build, they were really fun to drive. Prides, I had a blast using Prides and Gluttonies, right?
Even the Rages, when they first came out, were fun.
They were just nerfed in 2 weeks because of that turret there that killed them, right? I mean, but that was that. I don't blame the ship design for that. I blame Kickside ineptitude to keep things on balance.
Yeah, and I always loved the people. It was always highly amusing to watch those people that drive their Prides all stacked. I mean, it was just like that was explained to them pretty easily, but they'd run them stacked and then they get blown up. I found that kind of stuff interesting and engaging and thought-provoking. Right now, these ones are like
boring.
Yeah, yeah, it's all the same stuff, just a slightly different flavor, different damage type, and it's like
Boring
It's
and
like
broken.
every single ship is identical. You just flip the damage they deal and they take, and that's it. But they're identical. They all have the same range of 110. They all can be extended to 118. They all are very good against 1 damage, which is the same one they deal. Blah, 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 blah. But it's kind of like before you had actual choices. Oh, if I pick cannons or rockets, I lose range, but I gain firepower. Oh, if I get missiles, I have this huge range, but it's less firepower. Blah, 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 blah. Now it's all the same. Right? And they say that, oh, we aborted 7 Deadly Sins because they had too many auras, was too complicated. Look at the skirmish ships right now. They have 3 auras. The basic block's simple, but they have 3 abilities, each one of them.
Yeah, I think that's because it wasn't explained properly, and the blueprints weren't presented properly. Yeah, it's more of a communication issue. That's why we used to harp on communication.
And it's not even the same game team. We know that, right? I mean, the team that came up with the Rivals and 7 Deadly Sins, I think after that there was another team, and now there's another team. I mean, that's that.
Yeah, that's true as well. The teams have changed over, but yeah, it's not. And this I think this part of the reason they're pushing everything out is they're trying to get rid of what the old team did, because that's what this tier 7 is. It's not their stuff. And
honestly, they should go back in the archives and look at the missing 7 Deadly Sins and maybe bring them up like with the current game power level, but maybe revisit those unreleased ships, and because there might be something really fun in there that was never released.
Yeah. And then then the rest of the other 5, they can come out with Pride 2, Gluttony 2, because we're well aware they fired the people that named stuff a while ago.
And by the way, I mean, a telling signal that the 7 Deadly Sins was a very cool series is, guess what? People are using the Sloth to this day.
And people are using, at least on the bounty, people are
series,
using Gluttonies as well. People are using Gluttonies. The people are doing best in this bounty because the ships are removed.
Yeah, and the only reason people don't use Prides and Rages anymore, it's because they're kind of blitzers, and of course they can't take the power dealt by bases today. Otherwise, people would still be using them because they were fun.
Yeah, and I was actually hoping something from I can't even remember, the Siren. I was hoping it was going to be more like the Hope. I thought we were going to have more of a healing ship again, to replace the Hope. But yeah, it's just more the same. It's
cookie cutters, all cookie cutters.
Yeah. It's I don't know if it's a lack of vision, or I'm not sure what to call this, or a lack of risk taking, I guess, is another way to put it. I don't know.
No, it's if you haven't noticed, over the last 2 years, everything has been they've been squeezing that cookie cutter. They want us to, like, this whole series of ships, they're all the freaking same. You know what I mean? There's no outside the box really with these ships. You're going to put the weapon that comes with it on it, because if you put anything else on there, it's not going to be of any value really. You know what I mean? You're going to put whatever armor they release for you. We're going to put the MC3, MC2, and we're going to put 3 of the XRs on it because that's what we have to do. We don't really have any option in the matter. You know what I'm saying? We're going to put the special they release with the ship. They're doing that so that they can control how we're building, and so that they can control what's going on in the targets. The problem with that is that's boring as hell. This game was not started that way.
Correct.
I remember spending hours upon hours with notebooks and my friends, and we would all be on Face Chat or Ventrilo or another game speak, sitting there spending hours just going over, well, if we use this special, we're going to get this benefit, and we might be able to put this weapon on, and you know what I mean? And it was so fun, but Kicksai's done away with that.
Yeah, well, way early in the game, Hef and I and maybe 8-10 other players, we would just, build something, put that on the wall, say, hey, somebody hit my ship because I did something I think it's really cool. And somebody hits you, and either it works really well, like when Hef, I think, started with the HB3 Thud Sea Wolves or something.
Yeah.
That nobody could beat that. And everybody, holy crap, what did you do, right? And that was fun. Of course, back then ships would build in a matter of a few hours, and you put them out and you test it, and that didn't work, and you change it. It was a lot of fun.
It was. I mean, that was the thing that drew so many players into the game, because you could do anything you wanted. It could be a flop, or you could come across a jewel. You know what I mean? But Kicksai's done away with that now. And more and more weapons and specials are coming out being limited to specific classes.
Yeah.
And it's just they're squeezing the cookie cutter to where they might as well just, instead of us going and winning the blueprint for the hull and the blueprint for the special and weapon, they might as well just give us the freaking hull built. Because that's what they're asking of us. Well,
yeah, they're asking that of us, and they're also asking us to make like what's going on right now with the skirmish cycle is. I still don't. Have we come to a conclusion? You did a lot of testing, and your wife cut off your credit card to try and figure out the impact of Evade would have on your build. And are you even sure at this point, even though your credit card got cut off, or
I'm not. No, I'm not, because the results weren't coming in a good way. I mean, I did realize that Splash still is not working on any of those specials. I've ruled that none of them. I tried it, using. I tried using, what was it? 3 different things, 3 different Splash specials, and mixing them in and out of the fleet, and never once did I get a reduction.
Splash reduction special, not a splash special.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I know that's not working. Evade, I never was able to get any different results out of Evade either. So, but then I may not have gotten it high enough. The old standard was hitting 70. You know what I mean? Maybe now we got to be able to get up to 80. I don't know.
Well, the other issue is that I've noticed is a lot of times it's when we're testing, there's not a lot, like it used to be very consistent when you would go in to the targets. I mean, you could get a good idea within like 3-4 targets. Now you got to run so many just to get a good overview of what's going on, because there isn't really a lot of consistency. They have a lot of RNG stuff in the targets now, and it makes testing difficult.
Yeah, not only the consistency. Sometimes you get results that defy logic completely.
I'll
give you one example. I was testing, what was it? RA3 on my Manticores versus the reinforced reactive armor. Both give you the same resistance, but one gives you 100 deflection. So you think that's gonna help. And after hitting was 18 targets, blocks of 6, because I could hit 6 and then I had to repair 6 and repair 6 and repair. And I consistently saw the guy, the limited one with 100 deflection, was the ships, no matter which position, and every run of 6, the ships with that special were taking 200 more damage after 6 targets than the other one. It's in the big scheme of things at like 25, 35 armor, 35k armor. 200 is nothing, but not only it didn't make any difference, you could say statistically speaking, but the difference it made was 200 against the guy who should come ahead.
Way. Yeah, in the wrong direction.
How do you explain that?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff that comes out that when I tested, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and what's going on with Siege Battery at this point? Because I think, Dr. Death, you're still having issues with this, right?
Well, I took in when Bounty started yesterday, I launched my baser fleet, and I just went out and was just doing autoing, little targets, just goofing around while watching TV. I went into a 67 and my fleet died. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So I repaired the fleet, and I go back into that 67, and I watch the fleet. It goes up to this gate that's just got one old Drax scattergun on it. And the Drax scattergun one-shotted it.
Like the old one?
Yeah! Just one shot at it. And I was
And-
like, what the hell is this? So I pull out and I test it again and I die again. I pull out, I go into my base. I said, oh, no, something's not right. And I thought about it and I'm looking at my ships and I'm like, what's on my ships? Oh, they're all the same. The only thing that was on there was the siege battery that was consistently the same other than armor across the fleet. So I pulled siege battery off, and on 2 of them I put frontline countermeasures, and on the other 3 I put the explosive battery on, whatever the garrison battery. And then I went back into the target, and it couldn't even scratch the fleet at that point.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing, and what really frustrates me is that there's no avenue to actually get to test. There's no place we can go to test because the game's gotten so complex. Like, how do we make sure the stuff's working? Because clearly we can't just, rely on them to have it come out. And they certainly don't test like Blizzard does. So, we need some options here.
But we don't have any, except for us players being willing to spend money, and that's just too damn expensive. I'm getting tired of spending my money trying to figure out what's going to work to save me money when I'm actually doing what I want to do.
Yep.
I miss the time when, like back in 2016, I have that video when I tested specials on the Tide Seeker and posted a video comparing with evade, without evade, with this, without, and the difference was crystal clear. No questions. Oh, this made a huge difference. Oh, this made a difference. Blah, blah, And then, okay, so this is the right build. Today, you don't know.
Yeah, but even when we test something and we find something that's not working, we can't even half the time convince Kix, even if like George showed him those videos and they said he had to doctor them. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
To be fair, that wasn't Kix. That was a mod that is no longer there that said that.
Well, but mods represent Kix, and that information needs to be passed up to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, to be fair, the guy is not a mod anymore, so they took action.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a bad choice, I think.
But
yeah.
I mean, and we've been telling them for how many months that Splash ain't working on the specials, and they say it's fixed, and then we still tell them it's not fixed, and they're denying it now.
Look, I'm still bitching about generic accuracy on turrets, man. That hasn't been working in 2 years now, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? That's an important stat too. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I don't know. It is frustrating sometimes. I just wish there was a way for us to be able to test, or I mean, and I understand if we find something, they have to try and reproduce it and all that, but hell, man, I they're the ones that have the servers and the free gold. I mean, you gotta help us out here.
No, I fully agree. Heck, they could even block off a in live game. There's so many dead sectors now. They could block off a freaking sector and make that the test sector, and put in a little line of code that if you're willing to come in, land in here and test, we'll give you so much gold while you're in this sector to test product. You know what I mean? You'll be locked in the sector. You can't go out of it, but while you're in the sector, you can do whatever you want with the gold we give you to test out the product for us. You know what I'm saying?
The problem with that is everybody would end up going there, get to play for free. I mean,
well, no, because you can only put 100 people in what is it? 100 people in a sector or something like that. There's a cap on how many people will fit in a sector. You know what I mean? And then they could just watch, and if someone's not actually testing stuff, just kick them out of it.
They could give you like a week lease on that sector as well, maybe.
Exactly. I mean,
the idea that I had was having an open test server, and you do it by player ID, and they just cycle it once a month. They'll do an open test server. This block of players get in, then this block, and then this block, and it just goes month to month.
But the problem I see with that, George, is, and we have demonstrated this so many times over the years, what goes on in their test server doesn't always match what's happening in the live server.
That's true.
That's why I'm saying just take one sector or even add one sector to the game and make it a live sector, but in the live server, but make it a test server. And then they could use your ID and pull ID, pull so many people into it, say, hey, you got the opportunity to come in if you're willing to test for us and we'll let you into the sector. You know what I mean? But it needs to be in the live game, because if it's not in the live game, we've seen over the years, what's in the test server doesn't always compute to what's in live.
The problem with that, though, Dr. Death, is you'd need a week free of content to be able to do it. Because if you start, otherwise, you'd have to have a free gold given for testing versus your own gold for anybody.
Yeah, they can clone. They can clone bases if they want to.
Yeah, they could clone your base, and then you just, when you log in, you'd have just a slightly different login for that base. So you go into your. We did that once before. We had the test. We had a clone base. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but can they do that so that you've got one base in 490 and another base in 410?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, all they got to do is go back and look at the glitch. Remember, there was that time. What was it? Oh God, it was almost 3 years ago. Remember?
They don't even have to make it that hard. All they got to do is go, okay, look here. We're going to set this sector over here. It's going to be 100 players every month. We're going to clone your base. We're going to send you the password. Here's the password and the player name, and that's all they got to do. And then they reset it every month, so that way people don't get
Yeah, one of the old.
But then that would be on the live server. So so any bugs that are in the live server, we would actually discover.
Yeah. But then it goes back, it then goes back to how difficult it is to test some of this stuff. I mean, it's gotten really, really difficult to test some of this stuff.
Yeah, but if you say you got dropped in there and they told you, okay, say they drop your base in there and you can't do your FM, you don't do raid on it or anything like that. You can't hit outside of that sector. So that one sector, for just that purpose of testing, you have 0 cost for refit and 0 repair cost. So now you take your ships out, you go and you hit the mock target, which isn't going to give you anything. You're not going to win a prize or anything off of it. But you hit the mock target, you see what happens, you go back and you switch something.
It wouldn't matter. You could win whatever you wanted on that other account, because it's just going to be deleted at the end of the month.
Right. But I mean, do you see what I'm saying? They could do it so you could test.
Wouldn't you miss out on FMs though? And if it's a week of bounty, or what if it's
you're gonna have two
independent bases. Yeah.
Right. You'd have your base and then the clone.
But then the catch, it still doesn't address the problem that testing is just extremely difficult now. There's a lot of stuff that you can't test on your own. I mean, you got to have a partner to test.
But if you're in a sector with 100 players there to test, you get on comms and you talk to them, say, okay, guys, who wants to work on this problem with me today?
Yeah, let's go forward, Dr. Death. Like, I think 2 or 3 slides to deal with resistances related to the refactor. Okay, this one slide. All right, we got confirmation from Wrong Thinker that this is going to start applying to your base, your turrets, and your buildings. As far as there's going to be conversion from resistances to deflection. And I'm assuming, because John brought it up, or Sixpack brought it up in the chat, this is, I don't know, is this going to apply to your 50% turret resistance? Is this now going to become a deflection number? And this has a lot of ins and outs. This is a tricky thing, because we're used to like 50%, meaning half of whatever. But now we're going to get a fixed number that's going to require us to upgrade every time something changes. So this siege battery at this level is not, if you have your siege battery and it says a turret deflection of whatever number, I don't even know how this is going to work.
But see, I think that one, I don't think that's because that's not really resistances. That's a lop off of 50%. It's not a resistance of 50%.
But again, I mean, we haven't seen. I mean, She told
They
us.
can't. I mean, honestly, there's no possible way they can change siege battery and the other specials that have turret resistance to a number, simply because even if you look at all the tier 7 turrets, they deal hugely disparate amounts of damage, even within the same damage type. There's no magic number you could put on that special, even if you fraction per damage type, that would make the game possible to balance. But I think it's all about the overlays in the base, the turret resistances, the turret panels, and all that kind of stuff that gives resistance, moving to deflection versus ship-mounted weapons.
Right. I think the resistances, like Ren just said, the resistances they're talking about is actual resistances on like our buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Revenge, I think, is the last one that was like a mix.
The only one. Yeah, the only one.
It was the only one that had the mixed deflection and resistances. So I mean, I think that's what they're wanting to do, is just get away from having resistances as a modifier, essentially.
Yeah, but yeah, but
it still creates the problem Hefe mentioned, like even on the base side, right? I mean, I have that special that gives me 45% this resistance and 45% that resistance. That works forever. I mean, if in 2 years, tier 9, it's 4 times the amount of damage going back and forth, 45% still 45% of whatever. Right. The moment they change those specials to a number, now we're going to have to recycle those specials every year, because either retrofit or earn new specials, because that number in 2 years will mean nothing.
Well, will this also will it also affect like fire support and fire support 2 and other things like that?
Oh, that's not defense. That's not resistance. Fire support doesn't give resistance. It gives reload and damage. These are different.
Right. No, this will affect combined defense.
Combined defense would be affected. Any overlay, corrosive overlay, explosive overlay, all those tactical modules, plus the turret specials, that would all be. Oh, even the turret levels, because some turret levels give a base resistance already.
Yeah,
all of that stuff you have to change. Transformers, there you go.
Transformers, armor, there's huge amounts. And all that stuff is, you know, I guess we could go through and count it all up, but there's a huge amount of things that if this can.
Yeah, the problem is now all of
that to deflection, it would need to be upgraded every single time.
Every year, every tier, every whatever.
Well, no, it wouldn't be. It'd be every escalation. Every time they came out with a new weapon, we'd have to have a new deflection to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Or they could come up with a special, like, you know, a building version of Siege Battery, and just be flat percentages instead.
Or they could come up with specials that Increase the ballistic deflection by 50%. They could still have percentages, right, over a basic number that's built in something.
I don't know if I would trust them with that, though.
No, and to be honest with you, to be honest with you, I think they're doing this so that they can try, and they want us to start adapting the base like they expect us to adapt the ships.
I agree. It's going to reduce the shelf life of all the base technology.
The problem with that is that's going to create even more content overload over what we already have. And everybody in the game is complaining about content overload. And what the path they're going down is just going to double and triple the content that's going to have to be pushed into the game every time.
Yeah, the content overload, and tell me if you think I'm wrong. I might be. I think right now, gauging content overload right now is a bad moment, because they decided to speed up release of all the PvP. They compressed I don't know how many months of content in 2 months just to get everything out.
Right, I know they did that, but now let's go back 6 months.
Okay, fair.
Go back 6 months. We were still, the player base and all the shows, all the forums, the player base was like, there's just too much. And that was 6 months ago before they did this push. You see what I mean? This has been a problem going on all year long. The players are saying, hey, you're throwing way too much, because they've got us doing the 2 ships for each raid cycle. You know what I mean? They've got us now to where we have to have a different fleet for every single thing on the map. You know, they wanted us to do the generalists for the expeditions. You know, it's just been and that's just on PvE side, not counting all the stuff for PvP. You know what I mean? The player base has just been screaming for the last year, hey, wait a second, you got so much stuff being thrown at us on a continuous basis that we can't keep up unless you coin.
Isn't that their goal?
Well, no, remember they said they came out and said, hey, they don't want to put things in the game intentionally to force coining.
No, that's
no.
not what they said. There was
No.
there were caveats. There was a set of like 4 or 5 things that he said, and if none of the other ones were there, and all they did was put something into the game just for coining, right? Just to generate sales or coin. That's what he had a problem with. But if it helps the player, if it, I mean, he had a whole litany, there's a whole list.
But this massive overload of content is not helping the player base. If I go out and get something, even if I coin it, I want to be able to enjoy it for a while.
Same here.
You know what I mean? I don't want to enjoy it for
to
2 weeks until the next
get a toy.
I don't want to. Well, look at the FM now, and it's not. The FM is not. PvP. Yet we got new stuff being put in the FM every single week now. And yeah, you can say you can choose not to take it, but us old school players know if you miss something, what does it end up doing in the future?
Well, except for a lot of the stuff that gets added into that is stuff that has already been released elsewhere. And so now it allows a player that does not have a raid fleet or a conqueror fleet and just has a FM fleet to earn that. And so I don't really have an issue with what's going on with the FM because there's still the low value of, some things you can get for 1.1 million at tier 5, 60, you can still get this thing done and get to your prizes, your tokens. It's a little bit, it's not, I don't consider these 3 million things.
Okay, but think about it like this, Hefe. A year ago, when we would go out and do the FM, top end players would take 20 minutes. We'd hit 4 targets, and our FM was done. Can you do that now?
I don't. If you don't need these turrets or you don't need these flagships, you've already achieved them associated with a bounty or a raid. Yeah, it's not bad.
No. Think about this. Think about what you're saying now for a second, Hefe, because with them requiring 2 fleets to do the raid, you need those ship build tokens. Now, are you going to get those chests with those ship build tokens in 4 targets in 20 minutes like it was a year ago?
I'll be honest, I don't remember 4 targets. I remember 6. It was 3 for 1 run, reset, 3 more. That's how I remember. I may be wrong.
Yeah, that might be right. It might have been 6, but still, you
understand. Like to your point, can I get 6 targets times 600 points, 3.6 million? Can I get all the chests with that? Let me see, 1.1 for a tier 5, 1.2 for the top chest. That's 2.3. The one below, I think you need like 100 and something, then 600 for the chest. Then there's that. Maybe with 6 targets, you can get 1 prize and the chests, I think. Not sure.
You've done a 60k in tier 4, I do believe. You can get that CT armor, can't you?
Yeah, I think with 3.6 million points, you can clean up the chests, and just by getting 1 prize below the cheapest one to unlock them, I think. Yeah. But that's 6 targets. But then if you need any one of those turrets, or if you want any one of those limited resistors or armors or specials or whatever, then it keeps piling up. So my actual experience, it's needing about 5 to 7 million points every week.
But the other factor you're missing there from Dr. Test's point is the time. The target is exponentially larger and take longer to complete. Even if you accept the damage level, the time demand on your play time has increased.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think I made sure I could auto those fucking targets?
Yeah, and on the other side, as it agrees with time, as far as like, at least the way I run the FM, if I want to be damage conscious, I will take my Fangtooth and I'll take those ships out, right? So that's a time commitment to take those out. It doesn't take long. It takes a minute. And then I run my ships in. I run one as a flag and whatnot. I've gotten down to going back to my base. I get a repair time of less than a minute. Doing that, and so it's really a choice back and forth. Do you want to spend the time hitting a target, or do you want to spend the time repairing?
But even if you're willing to take the damage, you still are not going to kill 6 targets, even if you're willing to just blitz them in 20 minutes, like it used to be.
And that's my main problem is the time. Even like if I'm on auto and I put my Skyfires on auto and Dragons on auto and blah, blah, blah. It's still like going from target to target, boom, 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 boom. It's half an hour, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. Just to, completed FM, completed resource gathering, completed yada, yada. Then, okay, I got to go do something else. I don't have time to play anymore.
Okay. Do we have anything else as far as slides go? I think these were the most contentious slides. Unless people want to talk about the 5-minute thing. Does anybody have any thoughts associated with this?
Kind of confusing. Because it says, including prep hits and main hit and blah, blah, blah. We want to keep everything within 5 minutes. I don't understand if it means per hit or total process to fight a base, 5 minutes.
If it's total, then that means the only way that's going to happen is to turn our bases into farms.
Yeah, I was going to say,
no, it means more damage on both sides. More damage coming across.
It sounds like the cumulative time they're shooting for a cumulative time of 5 minutes. And the problem that I have with that is that in order to pull that off and not be overly complex or complicated, means that there's going to invariably be collect the back of the base, hulls again. And that's
hulls being neutralized in 2 weeks again.
Yeah. So I don't know why this is even an issue, why this even came up, why it's even being discussed, because I have never heard anybody say that PvP was a grind, except in Bounty when we're farming shit bases because they broke PvP.
Yeah. I agree with you completely on that one, because that's the issue. That they just need to reduce the point requirements in Bounty. I've never heard anybody complain that I wanted to prep with this and I wanted to do this and I wanted to do prep this base in this way with certain kinds of sloths and whatnot. That took me 12 minutes. Never been a complaint that I've ever heard.
It's making me think they're not on about when you go in and out of a base, are they? They're not still making you have that only as 5 minutes, even if you go in and out.
Yeah.
Well, if they leave it the way it is, and then they set a hard cap that you can only hit the base one time for 5 minutes total, then that will kill PvP.
That's what I was thinking.
That's why
I think what they're going to do is make it both sides be able to kill each other faster. Is the way I understand it after watching the.
But then that's just going to take
no matter which way it is, right? Even if it's a cumulative 5 minutes, or if they're going to try and make everything like the damage go crazy, that might be okay-ish at the top end. But the problem is when you try and balance that, you can't balance that across the whole spectrum of player base. I mean, you're going to have so many people be farms that they're just going to be like, fuck this shit. It's going to get worse than it is now.
Yeah.
I can't really see you being able to farm a whole base using a prep and taking out the rest of the base, maybe even prepping fleet at the same time in just 5 minutes. Even if you went at target 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 times, you only get a 5-minute battle. That's just bad news.
Yeah, that's for your base, Daddy. But yeah, we'll move
you
on.
can't do my base.
Now, I wonder how they're going to balance this whole let's make it 5 minutes with your Outpost now has almost 4 million more armor. Just wondering.
Yeah, I just think they're gonna make it more intense. They're gonna make it.
Yeah, they're certainly tweaking with
Deflection
damages because
versus-
they plan on removing the over damage thing, right? Which, good riddance, but it means tweaking the damage dealt by ship-mounted weapons. So it in some cases it can be more than pass-through, because today it will never be more than pass-through unless you're going up against a very poorly built defender ship or conqueror in defense fleet ship, whatever.
I'm just assuming they're gonna change the ratio of damage versus deflection, and it seems pretty simple that you could cause both sides to die quicker than you could before.
But it's very hard to control because, again, the players are very creative and there are so many odd specials you can stack to get, unexpected cool results.
Mm-hmm.
It's
not the same. It's not. See that the biggest problem they're going to face if they try and do something like that is, unlike a PvE target, which is static. If you go into a 120 FM target, every time you go into a 120 FM target, it's the same target. With PvP, though, how many bases do you find that are the exact same? Except for the big alliances, that a group of players will share and have the same base layout.
and even then, the turrets are not the same, and the guard ships are not the same. There are always variables.
Oh no, this scares me. I really, this scares me. I don't know what the heck Kicksai's thinking right now.
I still want to know what the nexus of the 5-minute thing was, because I've never heard anybody ever say anything about 5-minute timer being bad in the basics. I mean, I don't know where this came from. I don't know what the nexus was. I sure as hell hope they didn't confuse fucking bounty with actual base hitting PvP.
Or raids with base reheating, because people not wanting to spend 12 minutes with their fang tooth grinding and raid targets, it's one thing. Hitting a base is a completely different sport.
Yep.
Yeah, because the only thing I've been hearing about base hitting that people have been complaining about is that we don't have enough time to do it because of our chores.
Yeah, ain't this going to affect bounty as well? If they're going to change battles to 5 minutes when your base upgrades, is that going to be the same as in bounty?
Oh, bounty's already fucked. Who knows what's going to happen with bounty at this point?
They're not changing it to 5 minutes anyway, G Daddy. It is 5 minutes already.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm reading that as if to say it's going to take you 5 minutes whether you're going in and prepping and coming back out again and then going back into smash rest at base. You only still have that 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says. It says this includes both time spent prepping and finishing off the base. They want both the prep and the final hit on a base to be under 5 minutes.
Or is it each one of them being 5 minutes? That's what confuses me.
They're trying to tune the entire thing to take 5 minutes. I don't know that they're going to change the timer from 5 minutes, but the problem is the fundamental design that they have to do in order to achieve that 5 minutes overall time scares the hell out of me.
That's why I'm asking.
It's going to kill PvP.
He's just literally saying that you've got a 5 minute battle and that's it. Whether you go in.
No, I don't think they're going to change the timer at all. That's not what it's saying.
No.
What they're saying is they're going to try. They're talking about tuning right there, and the tuning is going to be for around 5 minutes, which really, really scares me.
So
that's
you run in, So you run in with your prep fleet, and whatever you're doing with your prep fleet is only going to necessarily take maybe a minute and a half, and then you're going to bring in your baser and run the channel, and that's only going to take you, 3.5 to 4 minutes to do.
Right, and the problem I have with that is that's going to completely screw players that aren't on the top end, or can't design a base, to maximize X, Y, or Z. You know what I mean? It's.
And on the top end, though, George, it's going to create that mass. It's going to take that swing and make it even more massive. Because either you're going to have the new base hitting tech, and for a couple weeks you're going to be smashing everybody, and then they're going to come out with whatever the new defense tech is, and it's going to stop everybody.
Or the other thing that I'm afraid of is going to end up being like shit. What was that sandbox thingy that we used to do? The
Arena?
yeah, when we had the sandbox in the arena and everyone ended up having like the same builds most of the time and stuff. That's what's going to end up happening too. I mean,
But-
the whole
But
thing.
see, they've been pushing that. They want us to be in that cookie cutter.
Yeah, I don't know.
They want everybody to be building the same thing the same way.
I mean,
because
that's what they
they
tried with Tier
control it.
7, and you know, it was an utter fail because we didn't follow what they planned. I guess. I mean, you know.
Well, no, we're still using Tier 6. We're still using sloths.
Yep. Until this wall comes out, and then you know.
Yeah.
Then we'll see. I guess. See if it works.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm really glad that since I've got it out and I've been playing with this bounty, I'm really, really glad that I claimed those reverence last bounty.
We haven't
Yeah, I
actually
didn't.
got to them yet. Them walls, have we, on slides? So we'll talk about that, I suppose, when it comes up.
Well, we covered it on Wednesday.
Yeah, because I'm having some very interesting results with my reverend.
I suppose by interesting you mean good.
Oh yeah, like one ship with just a not even a really good build on it. I'm taking down OP-10 and 3 salvos.
Yeah, because I suppose most bases are not geared to defend against concussive, right?
That's even with them having the 3 levels of the bounty bonus on it.
Yeah, but they won't have concussive armor, etc. There won't be concussive overlays. People just haven't got the bases set up for that.
But they still get a 75% buff. I'm ripping through turrets. I'm ripping through OPs. That reverence a mean little freaking ship.
If it's working right.
Right.
I mean,
I imagine some people are going to pick it up this bounty, you know, because it's only 10,000 points. So I'm certain there's going to be some players that's going to grab it and build it, and we're gonna start seeing its effects on the water over the next month. And if it's not what Kixeye intended, then well, it'll be rebalanced. I guess that's the new way of calling a nerf.
Can I ask you guys a question? Just thinking here.
Okay,
So if we upgrade our shipyard to the new levels at level 6, we get 15% weight saving for Legion, right?
allegedly.
But our conquest yard, as is, will become level 2, which gives us 15% weight savings on Legion. I don't know that the game can tell the difference if your ship has been built or refitted on one versus the other.
Yeah, I was wondering, is that going to end up stacking?
It shouldn't. All I mean is, like, probably out of the box, all the Conqueror ships and Defenders should, at least them, should get that Legion reduction immediately.
See, yeah, what I think is going to happen is
But
that
not the PVs. Or everything's going to get because it's bugged. I don't know.
I think it's going to be everything, because the way that it was originally is anything that happens in the shipyard that carried over into the conquest yard. Now, does the conquest yard, the new conquest yard, have a requirement to have the shipyard done first?
No.
Don't know because I don't know because I have to scroll down. But what I'm saying is, conquest yard level 2, which is what we have today, it's listed as giving 15% reduction on Legion.
Ooh, I wonder if they added it to our shipyard that we have now.
Yeah, that's going to become level 2. So it is. If you look at the picture,
I'm saying on the shipyard that we have now in base, what is it, 12, 13? What the hell?
there's no
shipyard do we have?
reduction.
No
right
reduction.
now, I'm saying with the update, they may add it in.
Well, but then they say it's new, something new. You get upgraded
Yeah,
shipyard to level 6.
Well, yeah, you get it when you get it to level. Well, no, you'll get it when your OP goes to level 11. Because when your OP goes to level 11, isn't that when your conquest yard is supposed to automatically switch over to level 2?
No, the conquest yard.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, because maybe that weight's just going to be factored in the shipyard after they release the new version of the game. Because yeah, it's not listed as something new. I don't know.
Yeah, see, I think when they pull up the when they roll out the update, because I can't see them having that in one and not the other. It won't work. That's not how it's Yeah, that's no. I'll bet that it's actually just gonna roll out when the update rolls out. You know, benefit to the player. Player first. Hey, there it is. There's a good example of it.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
apparently looking at the
I'm just guessing
pictures,
at this point.
yeah, looking at the pictures, you just get all the 15% reductions on Conquest Yard level 2. Boom. But the requirements are not visible in the picture. Maybe it's the shipyard level that gets you all that.
Yeah, you may have to upgrade your regular shipyard before you can upgrade your conquest yard.
Maybe.
Because
All
it's,
right.
it clearly states you don't get, because we do not have the 15% in the standard shipyard on Legion right now.
Right.
No.
But when the update rolls out, our conquest yard goes to level 2.
Yeah.
The Legion percentage reduction is in that level 2 one.
Yes.
You can't have it in one and not have it in the other. So I'm thinking that they're going to roll it out to whatever our level shipyard is now that we currently have.
And even Scourge, I think today we have like 9% or so. And
Which
it's gonna
means
go
then-
to 15 too.
Which means then the only benefit to upgrading your regular shipyard would be to get the expert build,
Yes.
which isn't a benefit.
Yet.
Yeah. At this point in time,
I mean,
It
for
doesn't show
top
any
end
real
players who are
benefit.
always building the new fleets, when would it be when would it benefit us?
We've no idea what the plan is for those expert builds going forward. That's why I said yet.
When they
Because
release,
if anything that I know, Kixeye will always try and find a way to monetize something to the point where you want to do it, right? One way or another. Either invest the time or invest the coin or something. So
Indirectly, the pressure they're going to put on us is just the pressure to go get more
it might be a benefit when they
use
release
those experts.
did we lose?
DLC.
Did we lose? I think we lost Ren. Ren.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah,
there
there
you
you
go.
are.
Yeah, you dropped off after you started the sentence, man.
Sorry. No, I just said
Pressure
the
to
immediate
go.
benefit is for people not to be more under pressure to go get titanium and uranium. At least uranium, I know it's going to be needed for some newer hulls. Like one of the pictures shows 75,000 uranium to get one expert build to save like a day and a half on an Inferno Dragon.
Yeah.
yeah, it's why I prioritize those builds as being lower. You know, the Outpost. And
But you know what I
Warcraft
don't
have that
like?
high.
What I don't like about the expert build, it's because it teaches players the wrong behavior. It teaches players to build the ship all at once because the expert build doesn't apply on refits.
Yeah.
And we're always telling people, build naked hull so you go and rank. So you go and you don't commit your shipyard for 7 days.
It's not. It wasn't just the ranking. It's because you want to be able to be able to react, and you can't have that
Exactly.
shipyard tied up. I mean, but what do we know, man? We don't know
And
nothing.
the reduction in build time you get by refitting, but because of the bonuses of op 31 upgrade.
Yeah, but I mean, an Inferno Dragon, I think, was like 17 days, and now it cuts down to 15. So you save 2 days. If and only if you build the whole shebang at once.
Yeah, it was tier. It was tier 6. It was 10%. Tier 5 was 50. So I'm guessing tier 5. What was it? Tier 7 was the 10%. So tier 6 is probably 25%. Is my guess. Because I was trying to do it like I was trying
On
to
whatever you build in one go.
Right.
That's my problem with it, because now you're telling people, oh, you want the benefit? Commit your shipyard to a 2-week long build.
But
Right.
here's what's interesting. If and we don't know, but this is a possible bug that we'll want to check out, a possible glitch that could happen in the game over this. If they're basing the expert builds off of tiers, and they've already put tier 7 in as a level that the expert build will work on.
No, it goes by hull. It's done by hull.
Okay.
Just because you said something on tiers, George, it confused me too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So the reduction is based on the tier level, but the hulls are individually selected, because he said during the show that they would release, they'd announce when it was going to be when new ones were going to be added in.
Yeah, which is a little bit. A little bit special because they've dropped the ball on so many of these things. I compare this to the Foundry. I compare this to the repair specialist. All this shit where they've dropped the ball. They start it, they make the investment to do it, and then they just
This game has so many small nooks and crannies that were great ideas once and became dead ends. I mean, you listed a few, but Foundry, Specialists, all that kind of. You're right. I mean, it's just all this, and it makes the game overly complicated because for this ship you go get a specialist, for that ship you get whatever, for the other ship you go and Foundry, for the other it's just some ships you can retrofit, it's just ridiculous.
Okay. Well, we're running on 2 hours.
I blame Ren.
Yeah, you
yeah. I blame Ren.
Okay.
With his broken
only
levels.
2 hours.
Whatever, TSM's he's floating out there somewhere. He likes to, he thinks an hour and a half is,
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours.
Just setting levels.
Here's what's sad is that we're going at a 2 hour mark during an event.
Mm-hmm.
Which means none of us really seem to be in much of a rush to get back to the event.
What event do we have?
Bounty.
What's that?
Bounty 14 or Bounty whatever.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I'm sitting at 57,000 and I'm like 130th in the world, or globally. I mean.
Oh, that's just bad.
Yeah, and
that's
people
bad.
and people on the people in chat have they've said they're only sticking around for that picture.
I pulled it up. There they go. That's Hefe's favorite picture because I think we've been running for a month straight now.
Hang low, sweet area.
Yes.
Oh no, that's not the right.
David is quite happy with this. Yeah. He understands what's going on. But yeah.
Got the wrong words. Said hang low.
So since we do have an event going on, before we get off, how is everybody doing in Bounty?
I'm floating around, I think, maybe 20,000.
Yeah, I've got 24,900 myself. I'm not doing bad.
I mean, see, I'm
George,
not
you're
gonna
getting
grind.
home by G Daddy.
I probably will the entire time because I'm not going to sit and grind that fucking thing. If I was able to hit some bases and shit and get some points, but let's open up the locator and locator's like, ooh, 400, 200, 10.
I tell you what, I love the new world comms now because I did this stunt today. I was sitting there and I'm just out grinding around. I've got 4 fleets out autoing targets, right? And I see an alliance telling a lower player, hey, we're going to help you out. I'm sitting here on 9,000 bounty. I'm going to put my outpost on the outside. You come hit me. And they didn't realize that they were in the world chat.
Fucking Emery. Emery number 2.
I took and I was like, oh shit! I threw my fleet back together and I jumped over to them cords. I didn't even throw that fleet together. I had my mud gluts, and I just
if you're smart enough, they banked mid-hit, so you got it and they didn't lose it.
I just changed it where
just saying.
So you just fucked the little guy, you bastard.
Yes, I did. I got wonderful hate mail from that one.
Does the hitter get something if they fail and get 50%?
No, you got to take the outpost.
OP and 50%, both.
Both. Oh, okay. Shit, I shouldn't have.
It's not just OP. It's OP and 50%. If you're pre-damaged, though, then you're already past 50%. Just get the OP.
Exactly. And he was pre-damaged. He just repaired his OP, set it on the outside so he could give out the points to this low guy that couldn't do anything. And he told him, he said, look, I've still got 1,000 points that I need to get, hit my base 5 times, come in, just run a gunboat in. And I just sat there and I just watched, and the base lit up and went away. Base lit up, went away. And on the 5th hit, as soon as it fucking went away, I sent my subs in.
I wasted.
So you are a baby.
You see, you make me proud. That's being a freaking pirate.
Hey, that's what the game's about. I loved it.
Right? Yeah, it's not Battle Gentlemen, it's Battle Pirates. Hit it.
You know, I think it gave me 4,800 bounty for that for just using my mud gluts on his OP and stealing it. But I got some wonderful hate mail from that one. But it was fun.
Well, I've hit a base like that this bounty, and I didn't get any of the bounty from it, even though I took out the OPS.
Well, the reason why I think it worked is I don't think he expected my mudgluts to come in there. I think he thought his little player was coming back in.
Yeah.
So he didn't bank. And it only took, it didn't even take me 30 seconds to kill his outpost.
All the regular problems of bounty aside, the playability and lag in this one is horrendous.
Oh, lag is bad.
Are you guys playing with or without hardware acceleration? Because I turned it off for good.
I've got mine off too, but I don't generally get lag in the events. I generally don't have a lag problem because I'm paying for the highest speed internet I can get, so I generally don't have a lag issue, but I'm experiencing some lag. The first time in over 6 months, I actually saw my ship spin.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in lower level targets as well. I'm in between 60 and 70s, and I'm going in I'm having to go in 3 times on auto because they're like spinning in channels and not doing no.
No, that's because they're getting caught because people have little. What's happening with that is you're going into the target, right, and your ships start to go down the channel, and then there'll be a little oil platform outside the base, and there'll be something inside the base, and both will be almost the exact same distance away from that spot your fleet is stuck in. So it turns to target one, but then it's closer to the other one. So it turns to target that one, but then it's closer, and it just keeps bouncing back and forth on its targeting between that platform outside the base and the target inside the base.
And how many times have you seen that happen outside of bounty?
No, it don't.
No, it don't.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that's because outside of bounty, we don't auto player bases. You know what I'm saying? We auto PvE targets, and PvE targets are static.
When you crash entering a player's base, you're on auto. When you come back, it's plowed on and gone and died. It hasn't got stuck conveniently so you don't get any damage.
Well, no, if you crashed, you don't know if you didn't stop someplace underneath the gun and just got killed.
Well, the other thing is too is in real PvP, you're actually hitting like legit bases too. You're not hitting these NPC ones. Because I don't know anybody that's going to be trying to auto like a 115 and a 120 opponent base. I mean, we're not autoing those fucking bases.
No, you just die in those bases. Ain't worth the points.
I don't know that anyone's going to even bothers. I mean, for practice, I'll do one once in a while, but other than that, who gives a shit?
Yeah, they're not worth the points.
No. The return on investment is horrendous.
And a lot of them act as though, like when you hit a player that's online and you're straight into the battle, even if you're not autoing, you're going in to drive it. You get in. By the time you're controlling your fleet, it's already under fire.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be happening. It doesn't happen.
No, it shouldn't.
Oh man, that's been a pet peeve of mine for 6-7 bounties now, and it's just ignored constantly.
Yeah.
Okay, fellas, I'm out. I gotta drop. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good one.
Nice chat.
Good.
But yeah, I've watched that, but like I said, I've got four little fleets going out. I got 2 missile cruisers, and I got 2 reverents, and then I got 1 witch doctor on each one, and I'm just autoing anything that's under a level. I don't hit 89s because for some reason 89s will kill anything I send into them. But anything under an 89, it's just auto. And I've been watching TV, piddling around the house. When I see that my fleets are ready to hit something else, I find 4 more targets, and boom.
Why are you peeing around your house?
Piddling.
Wow. I think you need to Google what piddling means.
That's what the dog is. Piddle.
Yeah. But yeah.
Puppies.
Well,
Puppy piddle.
I have puppies. Yeah, I have a puppy. But yeah, piddling around the house. Yeah.
Well, I did not know that's what it meant.
Yeah.
There are more than one. There's more than one meaning. Just like poor POR means way different things.
Okay, because when I was growing up, piddling was just being lazy and just goofing off around whatever
no,
you're doing.
that's a legit use of the word.
Or putzing.
Yes. All right. Should we end this?
You gonna do
at
fun
this
with
point?
words? Oh, I'm sorry.
If you're done, FA, yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go piddle around the house. Yeah. I'm
Well,
not
since
sure
you say
I'm
it
not
mean
sure
pee, I suggest you go to the
not sure who's
bathroom.
gonna clean up behind me. But yeah.
Well, you did drink a lot of beer, didn't you?
Yeah, it's whatever. How's that relevant? But yeah. I don't know. Does anybody have anything else to say? Because we've been going on for 2 hours.
I think it's been a good show.
There's probably a whole bunch we could still keep on talking about. I mean, there's so much stuff that came out this week.
Oh, I
mean,
know.
A lot of people want show anyway. So.
Yeah.
What's wrong
But,
with you, Hefe? You used to like the marathon shows.
It's 2 hours. I mean,
He didn't have a
He forgot how to pace himself, is what it is.
Ah, okay.
No, I have to deal with the puppy. I have to deal with all this other
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, sure. It's the puppy's fault now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? You gonna blame it on the puppy?
Because I can remember some 3+ hour shows that we used to do.
I remember 117.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah,
they
I'm glad I wasn't on that one.
And it was during a raid. It was during a raid when we did that one.
Yeah. And that
Oh,
point,
crap.
because I wanted to everybody to like feel like they were, during a raid. Sometimes you feel isolated.
No, it was a bitch fest because it was during that one fucked up skirmish raid where that video came out with the R16.
Yeah,
And nobody was doing the raid, so we was on here for 7 hours.
That was like 3.5 years ago. Yeah, okay.
I remember that. We were on here for 7 hours bitching. Nobody was doing the raid.
Yeah, so.
Alrighty
No, I'm just saying, if anybody else has anything else to say, I'm just saying, I don't know. It wears me out. These shows wearing me out a little bit. If people haven't figured that out.
You're getting old, Hefe.
You gotta pace yourself there, buddy. We're gonna start limiting how many beers per hour you can do.
Well, it's not the beers, it's the show. But yeah, it's all good. So,
I'm gonna blame Mike.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, all right, we're gonna blame the.
Well, at least I got included.
There you go.
I don't know if that's a good inclusion or not.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, any port in a storm.
Okay. So no, I was just saying
Still here.
if there's any parting words anybody has.
If you just some quick tips. Check out what you got in tokens. You can hold up to 5 of the Conquest Yard tokens. So if you don't have all 5 saved in your storage from the TLCs in the past, they are available this raid to grab. And with all this stuff we got coming out, it would help. And I really recommend you get the new gate because I think that's going to be interesting in the game.
So a must-have from the bounty is the gate.
The hoplite game. I
would-
think
if it
it's
works-
the sexiest of what's available. Yeah.
If it works the way that it looks on paper, then yeah. That's a big if, but
Yeah. Well, everything in this game's a big if anymore when it comes out.
that's a little depressing.
Yeah, it is. But then we wouldn't have spent the last 2 hours complaining about stuff either. So
I didn't complain.
Discussing.
yeah, okay.
I was discussing things. Mike's got it.
Yeah. It's just
Okay.
discussion. Some pleasant conversation.
Nobody's complaining. We're just trying to find out what the hell's going on in the game.
I just wish the hell they did.
We're still trying to figure out what the best Punisher build is at this point.
Should have
That reminds me, I was supposed to actually play with one of those.
Punisher build on this? No? Georgie, you don't have a crazy Punisher build that's gonna.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I actually had a request to do one for the FM, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. I haven't had shipyard time to fuck around with it yet.
Okay.
They only do level 40, so I won't bother with it. It's not worth it really. It's only 2,500
I was
points.
actually going to gear it towards the 60s. I was going to see if I could pull that off.
You're better off doing them with the Zelos.
Does anybody? Hey, I got.
Well, I understand. I mean, I have builds for all of them, but I had a very specific request for Punishers.
Sure.
Does anybody, because this is in the back of my head, stuck in the back of my head for some dumb reason. Does anybody remember how many armor points? How many armor points the old Enforcer had on it?
No idea.
Because didn't it have 10 armor slots?
The Gluttony I know has 10 armor slots, but I'm not sure what else has 10 armor.
I know the Enforcer had a shit ton of armor slots and a shit ton of weapon slots. And with the deflection armors out there right now, and you being able to put as many of the ones on as you want.
I've got a game open, so I'll just have a look in a minute.
I'm just curious because I know with 360 pass-through, I'm wondering how long it would take if you got one with deflections high enough to where all it was getting was pass-through, how long it would take to die.
I know the Goliath had a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
But the Enforcer only had 5.
Oh, it only had 5? Okay. So maybe I need to look at the Goliath.
Good old toilet.
Yep.
Yeah, but it don't have.
Goliath,
It has like 1,000, don't it?
It only has 7.
Yeah, so that'd be a 2-shot wonder.
It'd be nice if the Juggernaut effect worked on those armors as well, wouldn't it?
Oh, jeez. That would have been so broken. I think they knew.
We're gonna have a Jug X show.
Yeah, I think they knew that was not gonna be a good idea because holy crap. Yeah, we could have broken that like 10 times over.
Yeah, but for the very beginning, they sort of fixed that because the Jug X effect only took a place with resistances. It never took place with deflections.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Could have broken that really nicely.
Yeah. So, people that haven't had a chance to talk too much. Ben, you got much to say?
Just trying to figure out the bat race still. I got 2 built. I don't know how good they are, but
Oh, see, I love my bat rays. I can auto the SSRBs now.
yeah. Now, see, my nephew, he has the razor tail, went into an SSRB, barely damaged it, and died pretty
Yeah, it's
well.
explosive.
Someone told me on comms tonight that they've got 1 battery, it's got 6 ripsaws on it and 2 Gale 3s, and they can auto the campaign, you know, for the daily campaign with 310k uranium.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the bat ray will 1 bat ray will auto the daily campaign, and if you got a fleet of bat rays, you can auto, if you've got them built right, you can auto the SSRBs for instant repair on the map.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Ben, what you're saying, I understand what you're saying as far as because the previous skirmish targets were built on players doing concussive damage, and I was you know, a long time player, you know, an old player who quit a while ago. You know, he coined a lot, did a lot of stuff in the game, more than I've done, and more than probably anybody in the show has done, as far as influencing this game. And he got excited about joining the game again because he got mana cores. And he contacted me and he's like, okay, what can I do with these? And I'm like,
You can die.
Expeditions.
Yeah, you know, and he's like, he quit the point in time where he was like, you know, he was
You can't do nothing with manticores at the moment until the
Yeah, you
change.
can. You can. My manticores are constantly being used all week long. As soon as the 6 days is up and they dock in my base for the final time off the expedition, I send them right back out on it again, and I've just got a constant drip of base parts because that's the only fucking target in the game that they can hit right now.
Yeah, but hang on a minute.
Yeah,
We're on about kick
what
size.
I'm talking about is the fact that they're giving these to like players that coin and returning to the game, and they can't really. I don't know. You found a use for them, but if for a player returning to the game that has thousands of gold in his account, what would you do with that?
Or no, my manticores are doing the titanium one.
Yeah. And so titanium is useful.
Yeah,
So
but you don't get
were you
shit.
honest? Were you honest with them and said you really can't do jack shit with the fucking things?
Yeah, he's like, fuck this, I'm done. He's not gonna, he's not coming back because I could not find a solution for it.
They'll find it better when they change targets to titanium. They'll better do it with mantas then.
Yeah, I was disappointed in myself that I could not find a good solution for him because I know he doesn't have a huge amount of patience. And I realized, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, if they gave you Inferno Dragons, then I could find a path forward for you, but I can't find a path forward for you with the Manticores. And I was disappointed in myself. And I know this player's history and whatnot, and I was just disappointed. I was just I found it disheartening because I could not provide him with,
Tell him to send it a ticket because check this out. I got this lady in my alliance. She's a Blackwater pirate, but she doesn't really play the game. She just gets on to the social aspect, right? So she's only got a level 79 base.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she's got an alt base that she had, so in another sector where she socialized with other people in that sector, because that's all she does is get on and just talk on comms and stuff like that, right? Well, she hadn't been on her alt base for 2 years. So she got on her alt base this past raid, and they gave her a fully skulled, fully built fleet of manticores.
Yeah.
And it just made her all excited and happy, and she played the raid for a little bit. The problem, though, to start with, though, was the alt base was only a level 40. So she couldn't fit the manticores in her dock. So she sent Kixeye a ticket about this. Do you know what Kixeye did? They gave her instant build tokens for her dock and her OP to take the OP up to 10 and the dock up to, 5 or whatever, so that she would be able to use the manticores they gave her for free.
Yeah.
So she got a level 40 base with an Outpost 10 and a dock that's maxed out.
Yeah, I actually told that story about 3-4 weeks ago when my son-in-law came back after not playing for 2 years. They gave him a fleet of icebreakers and he complained that he couldn't get them in his dock, so they upped his dock for him.
So they did the same for him too?
Yep.
Yeah.
We just all need to send in tickets that we don't, when OP11 comes out, that we can't fit our ships in and they'll give us free tokens.
Yeah. I mean, it's, Mike, explain what happened to you today, because that was wrong too. I mean, customer support has been doing weird fucking shit. I don't think it's helping the player base. It's just, but
for the
Mike,
TLC.
Yeah, that one pisses me off because they should give me 7 fucking free structure day tokens.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I couldn't figure out is why did I have 2 separate line items in my inventory? One that would only hold 2, one that would hold 200.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's simple.
I've hit this
One's for
7
customer service.
Yeah.
Pardon?
But let him go. Go ahead, Mike.
I said I've hit this thing 7 times and I'm not getting the tokens. I said I have 2. One is maxed out, but the other one only has 10 of 200. So why aren't I getting the the 7 tokens put there?
Because the 10 of 200 is for customer service. That 200 number.
No, listen to the rest.
Well, what they did was just
okay.
sit back and said, as a one-time courtesy, we'll give you these 7. So I still have 2 times to hit the TLC, which I don't expect to get any from, but that's more or less what happened.
But yeah, so because
Yeah,
he
you're not- Yeah, he complained he got the. Yeah, that's a little bit. That's bad. I mean,
I
that's
didn't know better, to be honest with you. I was looking at it and said, "Oh, I got room."
Oh, it's not
And
your
keep hitting
fault.
it.
It's their fault. It's their fault.
yeah. They got to. They should have clarified it for you.
Oh, I guess
Well, they did clarify it. He read us the ticket, and in the ticket they did clarify that you can only hold 2 and you can't stack them. You got to use them between each hit.
Yeah.
But as a one-time thing, we're going to give you 7 days of structure build tokens.
they did. That's
But did they explain why you had the 2 line items?
no, they did not.
See, and that's the part that I have a problem with. They should have explained that that 200 one is not yours. It's not a player one. That's a customer service one. You
He's
can't add to
pretty
that.
much so right now he's pretty much got his OP because he had the 10. They added 7 plus he's got the 2 that he can hold and the one in the chest. He's at 19 days of
I got
structure
17,
tokens.
19 days. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I told them it was fucked up and they screwed up. I mean, I'm not
I
sure what
honest
else
to God
say.
didn't realize it. I looked at it and I said, "Well, hell, I got room to store these things."
But they should have realized it and explained it to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they
and
were
the
fucked
fact that they don't explain why that's there, that I mean, that's a little disheartening because
Yeah.
you know you're gonna unless we told you you're gonna send another ticket. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
So they
why
must
is
have
it still
gave
not-
us tokens at some time for something, and
Oh, they probably answered one of your tickets and gave you tokens.
okay, I don't know.
That's how that happens.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Yeah. Don't get me going on customers.
Well,
Sir.
it just but what irritates me what irritates me is that the players that are loyal, that are in this game, that bust our butts and spend our money on a day-to-day basis, are getting slapped in the face when they turn around and give anybody that sends in a ticket the same stuff that we worked our asses off to get.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nobody
If they see
works
that I
their
play
ass
like
off more
60
than
hours
Mike
a
does.
week.
Yeah.
Well, no. What I'm talking about is like with the girl in my alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Is she
give her
cute? Is she
tokens to
cute?
take her OP up to 10 and her dock up just so she can play with a fleet that you gave her for free on an alt base that she never used?
But they don't know it's an alt base, and then that's the only way you can be competitive. Because my alt base also,
How many level 40 bases out there have an OP 10?
oh, probably not too many.
Well, no,
Maybe
you
one.
can't because the
One, maybe.
resources you got to collect to get to OP 10 would take you above level 40.
Well, my alt base is a 74, and I cannot collect uranium.
Yep. I
No
got
way, no how.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna go with parting words at this point, as far as if everybody has any parting words that they want to deal with before we go to.
I know what it is. Hefe wants to end the show because he's drank so much now he's got to go to the bathroom. Okay, got it.
No,
all right, that makes
I've already been peeing on the floor the whole show, so yeah, there's no issue
Oh,
with that.
jeez.
Well,
I don't know that we needed to know that one.
I'm just thinking we've been going for over 2 hours.
All right, well, Hefe, next Friday, do us a favor and go get you a Depends, and then that way you won't have to cut the show.
I don't complain about peeing on the floor. It's not really an issue with me. I'm just saying, that's what's going on here, But
All you need is a catheter and a gallon bottle. And
You've now entered the Twilight Zone.
I'm just saying that you guys have run out of content as well, as I have. So we can move on as far as that goes. Don't go with me. It's no problem. I'm just saying we'll still have the after show. I just don't know that we need to go for 3 hours plus whatever.
I haven't eaten yet. I have to go eat too, so hurry up. Let's go.
I thought this was the after show.
Well, Ben, you
Oopsie.
didn't send much during the show. I'm just
it
saying.
does degrade soon,
Well, the daughter called.
over time.
The daughter, whose daughter called?
My daughter called, and it's like,
Okay.
that takes priority.
Yeah.
Over the game? Yeah, no.
No, of course. Is she cute?
See, I knew that was coming. I was about to say Hefe was going to ask if I knew it. I knew it. I almost said it.
Wait a second, Ben. You got to be careful about what you say. You might upset the unicorn overlord.
No, I was
And
gonna.
then it'll be without pictures.
Yeah,
That was coming.
Ben's already sent me pics. It's all good.
I've been hanging out with you way too damn long, Hefe. Fuck.
All right, everybody. Well, you guys everybody have a good night, and I hope you get what you want out of bounty. So
Have a great
No,
weekend time
I
filler.
was going to give everybody a chance to,
Oh, go.
parting words.
well, you cut us off half the time. We'll be saying goodbye, and all of a sudden the live button disappears.
Okay, well, I'm going to skip you. G Daddy, any thoughts?
I'd just like to say that bounty, I think it's a lot less prices at the moment than it was last couple of months. I think it's gone down lower in prices. I know they're all like still expensive, but it's a lot less to get, like 125 million now or something in it instead of 150 million.
If you're getting millions in bounty, there's something fucking wrong.
Oh,
To claim
G Daddy's a fucking hacker. We know that.
I know. Damn.
To claim all the new prizes in bounty costs 70,000.
For you, it does. For me, it's about 125,000.
No, I just said for the new ones, not for anything else you need. Just the new prizes.
Okay.
In the past bounties, it's been a, what, 120, wasn't it, to get the new?
So it is cheaper, then, isn't it?
So it is cheaper.
Okay, well, that's my point I wanted to make.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on then, since now I feel so uncomfortable about him hacking. All right, Jordy, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, if they want people to get involved in bounty at all now, they need to improve the playability before anything else. It's just appalling.
Are you talking about the lag?
Yeah, the lag, the hang-ups on the targets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having an issue with where I'm running multiple fleets. I'm getting lag even trying to select fleets or use the locator. I'm getting fleets that aren't docking. When I come out of battle and I go to move another fleet to another target, I select it, nothing happens. Then I move to that fleet to see where it is, and it's in battle, though the fleet locator isn't saying it's in battle, and then it lights up a couple of seconds. It's just appalling.
See, that's hacking. There you go.
No. I know exactly what he's talking about because that's been happening to me. If you got two fleets on the map and you select two targets and you go into one of those targets, when you come back out, only one target will be lit up as being in battle. You actually have to scroll over to the other fleet to get it to light up and let you do anything with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And you can leave a fleet in there thinking it's not in combat, and it's getting shot up and dying because it's hung up.
Yep.
You know,
And the way it shuffles the fleet too, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Magic Mike, what is your statement? Entering.
I've said probably everything I've been thinking.
All right, because I'm going to hand it over to George. George is going to have something to say.
That'd be fine.
Okay, you sure?
Well, I'm sure it'll be a lot more.
He might be talking
than
about you during this. All right, George, you have anything to say?
Well, I know
So that fucking Mike guy. Let me tell you. I actually have a question for Jordy. I kind of just want to know, how is it to work with Captain Picard, man? I mean, I'm curious.
Differently, my friend, and I just make sure I never wear the red shirt.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer.
All right.
What did the Mike guy do? No. I don't know. At this point, there's so much stuff coming out. I think everyone's just sitting on the, waiting for the refactor. I mean, bounty, it's shit. This is not what bounty is supposed to be at all. So I know a lot of players are really disheartened with that. It definitely is giving a false sense to players as to what PvP is, because if anyone recalls that this is supposed to have, helped with the PvP curious. I don't know if anyone remembers that phrase.
Yeah.
So, it's just, there's just so many things that are imbalanced right now that I don't know. And I don't know how long they can keep, like they're like 6 to 8 weeks, and I don't know that the game can survive that long. I mean, people are getting really frustrated. If this next raid comes out and it's as bad as the last raid set, I mean, crap. I mean, the damages were freaking atrocious in the last one, and they were like, "Oh no, we heard that it was fine." No, it was not.
Yeah, the thing I didn't
Well,
get
there
in-
were some fanboys saying it was fine, but
yeah, there were some things that were going on. Yes, that, whatever. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was interrupted.
No,
by
that was
I-
that was it. I mean, I think everyone right now is just waiting. We're all at that waiting and stage. And for a game, from a business perspective, you don't want your players waiting like that unless it's waiting in anticipation. We're waiting in. I mean, a lot of us are waiting in almost in dread because we just don't know what's going to happen. You know?
Mhm. No, I understand. No, because I'm in the same situation. I'm still trying to figure out what they're trying to do. Because, like they do the Kickside Live thing, and yes, they try to provide information, but they're not really providing information to the player base. They're providing information to their bosses. This is the way I see it. They're not. They're not informing. At least I'd like Wrong Thinker. I like the way he does stuff, but what he says is not directed at the player base. It's directed at Will Harbin. It's directed at other people because it's all corporate speak.
Yeah, it's
And-
feel good words.
Well, it's corporate speak. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We're gonna, I don't, like I said, I don't dislike him. It's not aimed at the players, and I do find that a little bit worrisome, disappointing. I don't know what's the right word for that. Is it? Have you seen that, George? As far as,
Troubling?
like, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's not. What he's saying is not aimed at the player base.
it's scary.
CM Chris is trying to get him online with some of the stuff. CM Chris understands, like, he's trying to put him in a box, when I watch these shows, but it's a little bit, it's weird to watch the show because he talks more like me, like when I talk in real life, not Battle Pirates, as far as, like, like if I'm your, let's say, um,
I don't know that he says that many knows, but
no, I was
You
trying
know?
to figure out the right.
Well, no,
way.
I'll be
I was
honest
trying
with
to
you.
figure out. I was trying to figure out the way to put this.
Every
It was
time
like,
I've watched, every time I've seen exactly what you're talking about, but the impression I walk away with after watching Wrong Thinker talking is that he's trying to justify the game
and he's
to
also trying to
his big
not
boss
put on
board of
put on a
the
spot.
shareholders. That's what it feels like to me.
He's
Yeah,
trying to impress his bosses.
yeah.
Well, that's his job.
See, to me, when you talk about the corporate speak, and I've seen it happen in action, and he is addressing the players, and what he's trying to do is enthuse and placate them without committing to anything whatsoever, and thereby placating his bosses and the shareholders because he's not committed to anything.
That's why I call it feel good speech.
Yeah, that's exactly all it is.
But maybe, we got to give him a chance. Maybe it's all true. Time tells that story, right?
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, it's a whole different thing. But yeah,
He's only had a month, right? I mean,
no. I'm not trying to be negative associated with him. I'm just saying the way he provides information to the player base is not how the player base wants to receive it. I'm stretching the imagination.
yeah. You guys want facts. You want to know.
They want numbers. They want all this stuff, and not like, okay, well, for the intended result, his verbiage is, it's cool. I would do the same fucking thing if I was him, but it's not. If I was put in that position, I would do the same thing.
But it's not really helpful.
Yes, exactly what I'm saying.
It should be directional. It doesn't have to be specific, but it should be directional. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's too high. It's like too high a level.
He says a lot of words without really telling us anything.
That's what I mean. It's feel good talk, and it's all right, but
Yeah.
hopefully he realizes that.
No, I think he does intentionally. I mean, it's cool. I mean, like I said, I like it. I mean, from my perspective, I like the fact that he's doing it. I just don't think it's good as far as informing players. But if it was me, I would do. Like I said, I would
Probably
do the
it
same
would
thing.
have to do the same thing. The thing I like is what the let me say commitment that if it isn't ready, we're not going to release it.
They've said that for years too.
I know,
Yeah.
but you know, this is a new guy, and he's.
You know what? I wish they'd actually instead of taking these cush questions that they pick out to answer in the show, that they actually answer some real questions.
Yes.
Oh, you think they should come on the Crib Show and I should interview them?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm fairly confident that entire show that they did was in response to player questions.
No, what I'm talking about, George, is you know, they say please post your questions in the forums and we'll answer a couple questions each show, right?
Right.
But if you haven't noticed, each show the questions they pick out to answer specifically from a player are all cush questions. You know, there's some really good questions that are posted for them.
No, to be honest,
sometimes yes, sometimes no. I do know that that entire show, if I recall correctly, was actually taking questions and answer the entire show was answering questions that had been asked somewhere. I just don't think that they gave credit to who they were taking the questions from, which is fine.
Okay.
I mean, I think some of them, yeah, and some of them they did, yeah, and some of them they did.
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, there was that one too, but I'm saying that there's the whole show itself, I think, was geared around to answering questions that they've seen, heard, and that were repeated questions. So they were trying to concentrate on the big ones that had been asked often, or ones that were like the whole refactor, the resistances thing. I mean, a lot of that stuff, why all the pieces had to be out, things like that.
Okay.
I wish it was longer with the amount of stuff that they had actually released this week. I mean, I really wish that was longer.
But we have managed to keep Hefe on the show for another 20 minutes.
He's about to pass out.
Well, like you need me.
All right, hit the button.
Mean, you know, I mean, whatever.
Hit the button. Good night, everybody. Have fun.
Smash the
Enjoy that
Night.
abomination of bounty and.
Good night.
I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not on any of the tests.
Oh, shut the fuck up and hit the button. Damn.
All right. Later, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be around on Wednesday.
Hopefully, God willing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens then. And I'm going to post the link one more time in case you guys want to join the show, the after show. We'll talk about George and Mike, you know, especially Mike. That's what
There's a few
That'd be a
spaces.
really
You have to
interesting
do.
conversation.
And Hefe is going to share his secret on which pee pads he's found best to have laying around the house.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought we were waiting for Ben's daughter's picture.